The peace and serenity of the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia is about to be shattered.
It takes 5,000 man-hours and about $75,000 to get one of these cars prepared to come here to Martinsville, and about 2 minutes to tear it all to pieces. We work day and night to make sure these cars run just right. We pay attention to every single detail. They have to run slick and look slick because the fans and sponsors are watching. When the green flag falls, that's when the driver's work begins. But whenever the sheet metal starts flying and the fenders start flying, that's when our work begins.
The madness of NASCAR's spring short track finale is next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race. It's a cloudy Sunday afternoon. We have a cool breeze, temperature at 68 degrees, and there are showers in the area. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Martinsville, Virginia, the final spring short track race for the NASCAR Winston Cup cars. Now, before we talk about this race, let's explain a little bit about what happened last week at the first Union 400 short track race at North Wilkesboro. There was some confusion. However, there's no doubt about it. Brett Bodine, driving the Quaker State Buick, did win that race at North Wilkesboro. Now, the confusion began late in the race when those that were running up front, including the number 3 car driven by Dale Earnhardt and the 17 car driven by Darrell Waltrip, made green flag pit stops. That gave the lead to Brett Bodine, and then the yellow came out for Kenny Wallace's crash down in turn 1. Now watch closely on the left as the green car of Bodine will pass by, and the pace car instead picks up Dale Earnhardt as the leader. NASCAR, however, quickly corrected their problem, and Brett Bodine went on to win his first Winston Cup race. As a matter of fact, he was able to pull away from Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt in the closing stages. So who might look good today here at this short track race? Well, let's get the answers from Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett. Gentlemen?
Well, Bob, there's some new drivers that have learned to mix it up on the short track because we have some new winners this year. Davey Allison, Mark Martin, and Brett Bodine. But there's one fellow, Benny Parsons, who has run awfully well, but he just can't get in victory lane.
You got to feel for Jeff Bodine. He has been a dominant car all year on the pole position here this afternoon in Martinsville, but yet he doesn't have a victory in 1990. Some more drivers. Darrell Waltrip in the 80s won 34 short tracks events. Dale Earnhardt won 18. Rusty Walsh won 6. They've yet to win in 1990. Ned, it looks like we may be seeing a change in the guard.
Well, those that have the best average so far this year are Mark Martin with a 3.0 average on the short tracks, Ricky Rudd with 3.3, and Morgan Shepherd with a 6.6 average. Now, folks, don't feel sorry for those drivers who haven't won so far because they will be a factor here today. But there are some factors that will come into play, and more on that. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Dad. You know, the spoiler here today could be this new Goodyear radial tire. Goodyear has done such a great job with this tire. The cars are expected to be consistently fast all day long as opposed to slowing down with the old bias ply tire. This tire will roll very quickly into the corners. That could accentuate a problem we've always had here at Martinsville, and that is brakes. The brake pads may begin to go away. So a lot of crew chiefs said, well, to prevent the brakes from going away, we could put more gear in the car. The gear in the car will help slow the car down going into the corner. But more gear means more RPMs, and that could really punish the motor. So you could abuse the brakes, or you could abuse the motor here. The ultimate way to stop, if you have to in traffic in Martinsville, is this baby right here, the front grille and bumper section. A lot of these may be used up throughout the afternoon. For another area that may be a spoiler today, our John Kernan is standing in turn 2.
Well, Jerry Punch, turn 2 has been especially tough on a lot of the drivers. You see, it's pretty bumpy through here. And with the radial, the tendency is once it starts to lose traction, well, it's awfully hard to save the car. So, Bob Jenkins, everyone's expecting turn 2 to be the place to watch this afternoon.
All right, John. Well, long straightaways and the sharp corners, the characteristics of Martinsville Speedway, where in just a few minutes we'll be underway with the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup Race. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Goodyear Eagle Radials, the best-selling performance radials in the world. 32 cars and drivers are set to go for 500 laps here at Martinsville, and we'll be back with the starting lineup right after this.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
After the scraping, after soothes, after the burning, after soothes, after aftershave skin conditioner. Nothing's more soothing after.
NASCAR Winston Cup racing today at Martinsville, Virginia, the Hanes Activewear 500. The cars have been started on the front stretch and now begin to pull away. And let's take a look now at the track they will be competing on here this afternoon. Martinsville Speedway, 0.526 miles in length. Pole time was 20.644 seconds and the speed 91.726. Fuel separation, a little more than a half second. We'll go 500 laps, and the unit count bonus worth $38,000 to Jeff Bodine. And now let's check the starting lineup. On the pole position will be Bodine from Chemung, New York, and the number 11 Budweiser Ford at 91.726, not a record. Outside of row number 1 will be Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. The second row in the Kodak Film Oldsmobile number 4, it's Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California, and Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas in the Stroh-Light Ford number 6. The third row, the Citgo Petroleum Ford driven by Dale Jarrett in car number 21, and Ken Schrader from Fenton, Missouri in the Kodiak Chevrolet number 25. The fourth row, the Tide Chevrolet driven by Darrell Waltrip, car number 17. Last week's winner, Brett Bodine, starts 8th in the number 26 Quaker State Buick. The fifth row is Dick Trickle from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, the Phillips 66 Pontiac number 66. And then rookie candidate Rob Moroso from Madison, Connecticut in the number 20 Crown Petroleum Oldsmobile. The sixth row, the Levi Garrett Chevrolet driven by Ricky Rudd. And then the Motorcraft Ford driven by Morgan Shepherd, car number 15. The seventh row is Bill Elliott, the number 9 Coors Ford, and Derek Cope, the Daytona winner, the number 10 Purelator Filters Chevrolet. The eighth row has Kyle Petty in the Peak Pontiac and Terry Labonte in the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile. The ninth row, defending Winston Cup champion Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac and Butch Miller in the IGA Chevrolet, car number 98. The 10th row, Davey Allison, the Texaco Haviland Ford number 28, and the Xerox Antifreeze Ford car number 7, driven by Alan Kowicki. And we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup as the field is now between turns 3 and 4 on its first warm-up lap. We'll go a couple of more times before getting the green flag, beginning 500 laps of racing here this afternoon. It is overcast. As a matter of fact, there have been a few drops of rain reported, but hopefully we'll be able to get this entire event here this afternoon.
Here's the in-car camera from Dick Trickle's Trop Arctic Pontiac. We have a couple of cameras in this car. As a matter of fact, 3 cameras. Just one inside. We have a face cam and also the side cam, a camera on the outside of the car. You're not going to believe how close. There it is. Folks, you're not going to believe how close he comes to the outside retaining wall.
Now, we had a face cam last week, but it didn't work real well. In fact, it got jarred loose from its bracket. But if that thing stays on, it's going to give us some great shots. Also, in-car cameras today, riding with Mark Martin in the number 6 Folgers car, number 6. As you can see, he's lined up there behind Dale Earnhardt. And here's Harry Gantz in-car camera. He's behind the Sunoco Oldsmobile driven by Sterling Marlin. And we should be going green here in just a few moments, gentlemen, to begin 500 laps of racing on this Sunday afternoon. A huge crowd on hand here at Martinsville. Here comes the field down, and the green flag waves. We're underway. Take long for Dale Earnhardt to grab the lead, and the crowd here in front of us stood up and cheered as Dale took the lead from Jeff Bodine. Ernie Irvin is running in third position in the number 4 Kodak Phil Oldsmobile.
Quite a move by Dale Earnhardt to pass this early. Look, Ernie Irvin on the inside of Bodine.
And a spin in turn 4 involves Richard Petty and several other cars. Petty in the middle of the racetrack in the number 43 STP Pontiac. Bill Sedgwick there, number 76, also involved somewhat. He's able to drive away, however. Richard Petty, for the moment, is stalled. Now he begins to pull away in turn number 4, but our first caution flag of the afternoon flies over Martinsville. Here's a replay of what happened down in turn number 4.
Richard Petty up in front of the 76 car. He's going to come into the picture just a moment in sideways. There he is. Davey Allison just barely gets by. Alan Kowicki, Bobby Hillen, and Bill Sedgwick makes a little bit of contact with Richard, but I really don't think they hurt the cars very badly.
Richard remains on the racetrack. However, Sedgwick has pulled into the pit area. So, while we have this first caution period of the afternoon, we'll take a break and be right back with more from Martinsville.
The Ford Thunderbird. A perfect car for a nice Sunday drive.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Hey, come on. Is this any way to spend the summer? No. Make it a Bud summer with Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry. Check inside 12 packs and you could win one of 100 Bud label pools. Look for me, Jeff Altman, where you buy your favorite beer. Because we're giving away pools all summer long. It's wet. It's wild. It's Bud summer. Hey, man, you need sunscreen. You're starting to peel. Woo!
The field in the backstretch having just taken the green flag for more racing here at Martinsville. Dale Earnhardt leads Jeff Bodine and Ernie Irvin and Mark Martin. Irvin once again looks to the inside of Jeff Bodine. He was trying to take that second spot away before we had our first caution of the afternoon, and now he tries again now that we're back under racing conditions. And it looks like he may be able to do so successfully. Davey Allison is in the pits with a brake problem. That accounted for the fact that Richard Petty spun down in turn number 4 because Allison was running right behind Richard Petty. Battle for second position. Ernie Irvin on the inside and Jeff Bodine on the outside. And Irvin gets his car just a little bit past, and he takes second position.
Well, Jeff Bodine hung up there for a pretty good while, Bob. The inside groove here is the preferred line at Martinsville.
Well, you fans have been asking for a way that you can hear from your favorite race driver, and we have come up with a system, the Sports One system. All you have to do is dial 1-900-226-1000. You can hear from Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Junior Johnson, and Darrell Waltrip. They answer the question this week, what's your most memorable moment in auto racing? And they have some great answers. 1-900-226-1000. Calls are $1.95 for the first minute, $1 for each subsequent minute. And kids, please get your permission before dialing. Have another spin down off of corner number 4. That is Jeff Purvis in car number 12. He has been named as the replacement driver for Mike Alexander. Well, that 900 number, as we indicated to you, is being developed simply because you fans have been calling and writing to us and wanting to know if there is a way in which you can hear from your favorite driver and get a little bit of insight on what they're like personally rather than when they're on the racetrack. So that's the reason we've come up with this 900 number that we think you're going to enjoy.
Second caution of the day. It'll be one lap to go, Bob. These are very short cautions, 4 spins. First by Richard Petty, this time by Jeff Purvis. Now let's go down to John Kernan and Davey Allison's pits.
The work continues on Davey Allison's Ford. Robert Yates and the crew kind of shaking their head where they brought it in. He lost brakes on the front. They've been working on the front brake line trying to get that fixed, and they've also been checking the toe in and toe out. He does have some of that familiar blue paint down the side so you can see where he tangled with Richard Petty. And Davey just turned the steering wheel. Apparently there is a problem in the steering because he shook his head in disgust. They're putting the hood down, and he has not refired the car, but now he's trying to. So it looks like Davey's going to get back out into the fray.
Just about to go back to green, John, from our second caution flag. Here is the green flag flying. Back to racing on lap number 12. That's Dale Earnhardt still at the head of the field. And Ernie Irvan right behind him. Jeff Bodine, then Mark Martin, Fred Bodine, Dale Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, and the 10 car of Jerry Copen. There is the best battle on the racetrack at the moment. That's Morgan Shepherd high on the racetrack at number 15, and Darrell Waltrip low.
Trying to do the impossible, and that is pass on the outside here at Martinsville, especially early in the race. But Shepherd's Motorcraft Ford working well up there. He might be able to get Waltrip coming off of turn 2, and he does.
He moves into 7th position. Sterling Marlin goes very slowly down the front stretch. Marlin with a problem in that Oldsmobile.
Boy, he's had some tough luck on these short tracks. He has run well most of the time, but he never really got the car going well here. Didn't qualify very well. He's headed into the pits on the backstretch. That car is without power, it looks like.
So Sterling Marlin will go into his assigned pit on the backstretch after apparently losing power in the Sunoco Oldsmobile. And pulling in right behind him, there you see Jeff Purvis in the number 12 car. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt stretches out the advantage a little bit on Ernie Irvan.
Ned, I'm most impressed at the way these fellows are able to run on the outside today. We saw Morgan Shepherd pass Darrell Waltrip. We saw Jeff Bodine hung up on the outside and stay outside Ernie Irvan for a couple of laps. So we're going to see some great races today because the outside group working very, very well.
And it might be that they're running the radial tires here for the very first time, and maybe that permits them to run up there in that second groove. We haven't seen them run there in the past. Here's Morgan Shepherd moving on the inside of Dale Jarrett and taking over the 6th position.
Morgan Shepherd in number 15 moves to 6th, dropping Jarrett back to 7th position. Then back there in 8th, a good battle between Darrell Waltrip and Derry Cope. And here is a battle for 2nd spot, and Jeff Bodine goes into 2nd, passing Irvan.
Boy, he made that look easy. He just pulled alongside Ernie down the front straightaway, took 2nd spot away.
Yeah, he passed him a lot easier than Ernie passed Jeff a few laps back. It took Ernie about 3 or 4 laps.
Riding inside the Mark Martin car, he's running 4th. Ahead Irvan, Bodine, and the leader Earnhardt. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's in Sterling Marlin's pit.
Well, for the second week in a row, a tough break for the Sunoco team. Sterling Marlin said the ignition just shut off on the car. He rolled down pit road. You were right. He was not under power at all. Steve Lloyd and the crew are trying to get the car refired. Right now, they're working on the wiring in the distributor area. But a tough break here early for Sterling Marlin.
So Marlin sits in the pit area as the crew tries to find the problem. There are your leaders. Meanwhile, back in the pack, here are Kyle Petty in car number 42 and Rusty Wallace in number 27. And they are running in 17th and 18th position at the moment.
Rusty has been inside Kyle a couple of times in the last few laps, but every time he gets inside, it seems like there's a slower car. They lapped Jeff Purvis just a moment ago. Kyle Petty kept that car to keep Rusty behind him.
Rusty with another disappointing qualifying effort. Started this race in 17th position and has dropped back a spot. Now runs in 18th.
Bob, yesterday in practice, his car was running very good. He felt that he could move up through the field, but he knows he needs to be patient because you can use up the race car in a hurry here and not have anything left at the end of the race if you aren't careful.
Now back up front, we see Jeff Bodine mounting a challenge on Dale Earnhardt. Bodine is going to go to the outside in turn number 2. And as they go down the backstretch, looks like Bodine, yes, is going to go into the lead.
What in the world? He just drove by Earnhardt.
I think Earnhardt, it looked like he just sort of moved over and let him have plenty of racing room, and sure enough, he moved around.
For a very brief moment, I thought there was something wrong with Earnhardt's car because he pulled to the inside and just seemed to want Bodine to go by.
I'm not sure that there might not be something wrong with the brakes on Earnhardt's car. Maybe he realizes to stay up there, he was using the brakes just a little bit too much. He decided to back off because we see Ernie Irvan come on a little bit closer to Dale Earnhardt.
Now Darrell Waltrip tries to pass. Oh, he bumped Dale Jarrett and spins him in turn number 1. And Dale keeps the car off the wall, just almost tapped it, but I think he was able to keep the car off the wall.
Yeah, I don't think he hit it. He'll stay in the lead lap if he can get it going. You can see the left rear quarter panel where Waltrip got into him going into the turn.
He was running in 7th position when he was hit from behind by Darrell Waltrip. Here it is again.
You see Darrell on the inside trying to get by Dale. Down in turn 1, Darrell, he don't quite know what to do. Dale don't know what to do because he doesn't realize that Darrell Waltrip is as close as he is. He comes downhill, they make contact. Around he goes. Unfortunately, I'm afraid we're going to see a lot of that today.
Yeah, I'm afraid we will too.
That's the 3rd caution period so far today in what probably will be many. We're at the Hanes Activewear 500 in Martinsville, Virginia, and we'll be right back.
And there's the checkered flag.
When the race is over, the scene begins. The Winston Cup scene. It's the largest and most informative NASCAR Winston Cup newspaper in the country. The pages of the Winston Cup scene are loaded with up-to-date information, insightful editorials and commentary, expanded coverage of each race, entertaining feature articles, the latest news, terrific photography, complete statistics, and even the gossip.
To order your Winston Cup scene, call 1-800-323-0200. 45 great issues for only $35 per year. Act now will send you free samples of our other publications.
Hey, Bill, checking out the scene? How'd I do?
Well, let's see. Petty. Richard Petty?
Why don't you take over? I'm into the scene. Why don't you get into the scene, too?
For the best in motorsports reading, be a part of the scene. Winston Cup scene. Call 1-800-323-0200 now.
Back of a bat can't be beat with baseball 4 nights a week. Major League under the lights, ESPN baseball tonight. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheader. Wednesday, it's nothing better. Catch it Sunday, watch the fun. Sunday night, our home run.
The Cubs take on the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Baseball tonight.
The Unical bonus money is up to $38,000. Jeff Bodine eligible for that. He was the pole sitter today, and he leads at this point as we are about to go back green from our 3rd caution period of the afternoon. Near capacity crowd here at Martinsville as they rise to their feet to watch the restart. Green flag is out.
Earnhardt looked like he wanted to make a move there for a moment on the restart. Jeff Bodine, but Bodine holds the lead. And there's a spin up in turn 4. Derek Cope.
Cope in number 10 spins in turn number 4. I was just about to say that I'm very impressed with Derek's performance here on the short track. We'll undoubtedly see him running up toward the front of the field at Talladega next week on the Super Speedway, but he was doing a fine job here at the short track at Martinsville until that spin. And the caution flag is out once again for the 4th time this afternoon.
And Derek did a good job of beating Jeff Bodine back to the start-finish line, staying in the lead lap. Should be another quick caution.
This spin with Derek Cope started up in turns 1 and 2 when Ricky Rudd got alongside Derek, and they raced down the back straightaway and made just a slight bit of contact going in turn 3, and around went Derek.
Pace car has picked up the field, but we're going to go back green next time around.
Harold Kinder didn't want to throw that yellow flag. He had it in his hand. He said, come on, Derek, get the car, go. Come on, Derek, move. But Derek went the wrong way and had to back up. That's when they decided to throw the caution flag.
Ricky Rudd making a pit stop. There you see him on the far left of, or right of your screen, rather. Ricky Rudd in the number 5 Levi Garrett Chevrolet in for a pit stop.
They were concerned that it might have pushed the fender in against the tire. Here's a replay of what happened as they went into turn 3. You can see Ricky Rudd in the yellow car down on the inside. He and Cope gets together, and Cope goes spinning around. And I don't think he hit the wall either.
No, I don't think he did either, but Ricky Rudd also had to make a pit stop and make sure that the fender, there's Derek Cope coming in, changing. Oh, they're going to change 4 tires. They better hurry. John Kernan is there.
Well, spinning. It doesn't look like he hit anything, but he does have a tire mark right in front of the left rear tire. It is a 4-tire change. He did a good job staying on the lead lap. And yes, Cope is down and away, and he will be on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yes, indeed. He has remained on the lead lap throughout that entire situation. He'll catch up with the rest of the field now as it comes off the 4th corner to take the green flag for resumption of racing. Jeff Purvis in the number 12 car, the only car that has been lapped so far, and he is 2 laps down. The green out on lap 32. Battle for 4th position finds Brett Bodine going to 4th, passing Mark Martin. And he got some help from the slower car of Purvis. And now Earnhardt, once again, looking to the inside of Jeff Bodine at the end of the first turn, trying to take away the lead, but is unable to do so.
Now Bodine able to pull out to about a 1-car length advantage. Earnhardt really gets going awfully well on the restarts. Now watch this camera that we have mounted on the side of Dick Trickle's Phillips 56 car. Watch as he comes off the corner and up against the wall. Ooh, down the street. No, don't hit. Oh. Wow, what a great shot from the outside of Dick Trickle's car.
Gave us some great shots last year when it was mounted on Michael Waltrip's car, as we saw it have contact with several other machines out there on the racetrack. Today it's mounted on Dick Trickle's car. And there is Dick at work.
What in the world is he doing with one hand? Is he holding the car in gear?
Well, it looks like he reached down to the gear shift lever. I don't know.
That's just a great shot. Look at him work the wheel.
Steering wheel looks bigger than he is.
Goes to turn 3. In the middle of the corner, makes the car turn the other direction. Comes off the corner, following Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet. See, the car's bumper to bumper all the way up to 3rd place.
Trickle running in 12th spot behind Ken Schrader and Darrell Waltrip.
Waltrip takes a look on the inside of Morgan Shepherd. Remember, just a few laps ago, Morgan passed Darrell on the outside. Darrell looked like he wanted to try it the easy way on the inside.
Let's go to John Kernan, who has a comment on Morgan Shepherd.
Bob Morgan is running great. Donnie Wingo, the crew chief, I just talked to him moments ago, says Morgan is saving the brakes right now, but all systems are go. He's just settling in to a nice pace to save the brakes.
He's in 6th position at the moment. Here comes Ken Schrader trying to take over 7th spot from Darrell Waltrip. Teammates battling it out here.
I don't think they're thinking of that right now. They're not thinking about being teammates.
Both drivers for the Rick Hendrick operation. We get a perspective of this battle from Dick Trickle's Phillips 66 in-car camera.
And you can see just how hard these drivers drive in the corner and have to rely on the brakes to stop the automobile to keep them running in the back of the car in front of them.
Back in Dick Trickle's car as he watches Ken Schrader trying to make those moves up in front of him. You can see Darrell Waltrip's car go down on the inside. He's trying to make a move on Morgan Shepherd. You see how close they're all running together, trying to jockey for positions. And then when you're running that close together, you're using a lot of brakes, perhaps more than some of them want to at this stage of the race.
I'm sure they are. The reason we aren't showing you the leader right now, folks, is Jeff Bodine has kind of checked out on Earnhardt.
Yep.
He has about a 15, 20 car length advantage on him as we watch the action back from about 4th on back. The yellow car that we saw just go by the screen is the 3rd place car of Ernie Irvin.
Ken Schrader just behind Darrell Waltrip. We mentioned how they are teammates, and earlier in the weekend, we asked Ken Schrader, do you share information with your teammates?
We don't share much information. Some of the things in the engine programs and stuff is shared back and forth. You know, a lot of the teams, it's hard to keep secrets. It's not that you're really sharing. It's just it's hard to keep secrets in this business. And we don't really exchange chassis setups or anything like that. you know, we want to beat the 5 and the 17, but we don't want to beat them any more than we want to beat every other car out there. I mean, we might work with them a little more than some other team, but you know, there's not a lot of information shared.
As a matter of fact, the Hendrick cars in the point standings are 6th, 7th, and 8th. Waltrip is 6th, Rudd is 7th, and Ken Schrader in 8th position. Let's go to Jerry Punch concerning Dale Earnhardt. Jerry?
Well, we're standing in the Earnhardt pits, and Richard Childress is here beside me. And RC, after Dale led a few laps early on, it looked like he moved over and let Bodine by. Is there a problem?
No, Jeff just wanted to run a little harder than we wanted to this early. It's a pretty long race. We just didn't want to turn that many RPMs this early.
Dale Earnhardt really maturing as a driver. As the current Winston Cup point leader, he wants to save those brakes and be there at the end.
Indeed, Earnhardt 57 points ahead of Morgan Shepherd in the Winston Cup point standings as we enter this 8th race of the 1990 Winston Cup season. The top 10 here at Martinsville, Virginia in the Hanes Activewear 500.
What could this off-road vehicle possibly have in common with this off-road vehicle? The same quality filter protection you can give your car from Purelator, the world's largest filter company.
If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. BMW motorcycles, worth the obsession.
The embarrassing miscues, the performances at peak, the unusual antics, the plays of the week. Tonight at 11 Eastern on ESPN Sports Center.
Back at Martinsville, where Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt are running first and second, but boy, we have some great action back of them. Here is Morgan Shepherd, Ken Schrader, and Ernie Irvin battling it out. Irvin is caught on the outside line and is losing positions right and left.
Well, see, you just don't... Well, here's the side cam from Trickle's car. He just don't realize how good the outside is, I don't think. Look how close these cars are as they exit turn 2. This is the back straightaway at Martinsville. Now Rusty Wallace has went by Ernie Irvin. Ernie just cannot get back to where his car is working best on the inside.
Irvin dropped back to 10th position now.
And Rusty Wallace moving up into 9th position from his 17th qualifying position, so he's on the move, Bob.
Now Rob Moroso is behind Ernie Irvin. Moroso in the number 20 car, and behind him is the 7 Xerox Ford driven by Alan Kulwicki.
Rusty definitely on the move as he's gained 8 spots already, and I tell you, this is tough plowing.
And here's the group in front of that group, and here is Darrell Waltrip going to the inside and passing Mark Martin. So now Darrell Waltrip moves to 4th. It's Bodine, Earnhardt, Brett Bodine 3rd, then Waltrip, and Mark Martin at 5th.
And then in 6th place is Morgan Shepherd. 7th is Kenny Schrader. 8th, Dick Trickle. Rusty Wallace 9th, Ernie Irvin 10th, Alan Kulwicki 11th. The battle for 12th, Bill Elliott and Rob Moroso.
Last week's winner, Brett Bodine, having a good run here this afternoon. He started 8th. At the end of 20 laps, he was up to 5th. And at the end of 55 laps, up to 3rd position.
Darrell Waltrip, the man who has really owned this Martinsville Speedway for the last several years. He's just won more races than anyone here. Won 4 out of the last 6 races of the race.
Including the last 3 in a row.
He really knows how to get around this racetrack. Driving maybe a little bit more aggressive in the early part of the race than we normally see him, but I guess his car is working that way, which allows him to do that.
And here we are showing you the field once again. Watch for your favorite car and driver to pass through, and you can get an idea of where your driver is running in relationship to the leader. Here comes Richard Petty off the fourth corner along with Dale Jarrett. We'll do it once again. We'll just keep this shot here. Now here comes the leader. There is Jeff Bodine. There's second place Earnhardt. We're timing this lap by Earnhardt.
Kowicki goes on the inside of Ernie Irvin. This is the time you're seeing is Jeff Bodine, the leader in the Budweiser Ford. This is the time it's going to take him to get around this half-mile racetrack at Martinsville.
Here he comes off the fourth corner, and the clock stops at 21.6 seconds for the leader, Jeff Bodine.
That's a little less than a second slower than he qualified, which is not bad in competition because normally they tighten the car up a little bit for racing conditions as opposed to qualifying. As I see Darrell Waltrip now trying to make a move, and he does.
And indeed, Darrell Waltrip now goes to third position. That time, by the way, computes to a speed of 87.66 miles an hour.
Meantime, Morgan Shepherd, he tries to go on the inside of Martin and does pass the Folgers Ford. Martin tried to get inside of Brett Bodine in turn 3, but Brett closed the door just before Martin got there.
Morgan Shepherd goes to 5th, Martin back to 6th.
Rusty Wallace, as you can see the black car, he's right behind the end of that package, running on the bumper of Dick Trickle, car number 66, and Trickle right on the back bumper of Kenny Schrader in car number 25. So Wallace continues to try to move towards the front. Hasn't won so far in 1990. The defending Western Cup champion.
Now looking out back of Dick Trickle's car. Looking back on Rusty Wallace.
I'll tell you, these are two very, very good friends. Dick Trickle, Rusty Wallace. When Rusty Wallace started driving in around the St. Louis area, run the ASA circuit, Dick Trickle was the fellow who told him how to drive a race car, how to set up a race car. He said Rusty Wallace spent more money on phone calls with Dick Trickle than he did anything else in his racing career.
And then last year, Rusty was conducting some of the rookie meetings that Dick Trickle was attending as a rookie.
Watching 9th and 10th position, Trickle in 9th, and Rusty Wallace in 10th, back there in 11th, and Alan Kowicki. Let's go to Jerry Punch with a comment on Rusty Wallace.
One of the lectures that Rusty Wallace likes to give the rookie drivers here at Martinsville is about how not to use your brakes. Rusty has told drivers time and again, you can run fast here and not use that brake pedal. That's what he's doing now. According to Barry Dotson and the crew here, Rusty is not running the car nearly as hard as he could if he had to. He is going to the front, picking them up one by one, and trying to be very, very careful with that brake pedal.
Well, I guess that's the situation here at Martinsville for the most part. You just got to save the car as much as you can.
You sure do. That is the key.
The lead continues to be held by Jeff Bodine in car number 11, and he has about a half a straightaway, maybe a little bit less than a half a straightaway advantage on the second place Dale Earnhardt. Again, here are the top 10 at Martinsville, Virginia Speedway, the Hanes Activewear 500. We'll be back with more of our live coverage in a moment.
These are the men who play NBA basketball. They are the best in the world. They can do what no one else can. And now you can watch them do it all as Sports Illustrated Video presents the official NBA Video Collector Series, an exclusive collection now available for the first time on video. Call now and start the excitement with great moments in the NBA for only $9.95. It's a sensational show of last-minute heroics from the most memorable games in NBA history.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Keep it, and an additional NBA video will follow about every month. Keep only the ones you want. And you'll also get the high-flying video, the NBA's all-new dazzling dunks and basketball bloopers free with your payment. It's new, it's fabulous, it's funny, and it's free. Don't miss it. Call now and get your free dunks video. And start your great NBA Video Collector Series from Sports Illustrated Video.
Call 1-800-435-1190 or write dunks at this address. Have your credit card handy.
Virginia in the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race. Michael Waltrip in car number 30 and Bill Elliott in number 9 are battling it out on the racetrack, and Waltrip has passed several cars in the last few laps.
Yeah, he's really on the move. He started back pretty far in the field, Bob. In fact, he started 23rd, and now is just coming on up through the pack. He's currently in 12th place. So Michael Waltrip, he told me this morning at the motel as we were leaving to come here, he said, watch for us today in that Country Time Lemonade Maxwell House Pontiac. He says, we're going to come towards the front, and by golly, he's doing it.
You know, Ned, every guy that I've talked to, when I said, how you running, every one of them said, great. Looking at the racetrack, they all are running very good.
Well, most of them are. You see a few cars that are not running nearly as well as they had hoped they would, but certainly not Michael Waltrip. He is running very strong now. The 4 car of Ernie Irvin that started in the 3rd position is one car that is not running nearly as well as he had hoped to. He has dropped back in the field pretty far.
Michael Waltrip running in 12th position. And there is Dale Earnhardt, and there is the leader. That's the interval between 1st and 2nd as Bodine has things well in hand here. He's putting a lap on Dale Jarrett in car number 21. Let's go to Jerry with some reports on the Bodine family. Jerry?
Well, actually, sort of like father, like son. Last night, Barry Bodine, Jeff Bodine's 12-year-old son, sat on the pole and dominated his race at Liberty, North Carolina, a go-kart race. He jumped out of the go-kart, and Victor Land said, hey, where's the Unocal money? Well, obviously there was no Unocal money last night, but he told Dad, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. So they sort of got a little bit of a momentum here today. We might also add that the 4th generation of Petty's was also racing last night. Kyle Petty's youngest son, Adam Kyler, was racing and has also won in go-kart competitions. There are 4 generations there. While I have it, I might want to mention that Dale Jarrett has a serious problem. His car is very, very loose, the Wood Brothers car, and is having difficulty keeping the car up to speed. He has already now been lapped, just been passed by Jeff Bodine. We also mentioned the car number 4 you were speculating about. That's the Ernie Irvin car. His car is very loose as well, and he is dropping back.
Yes, he indeed is dropping way back, and the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip is moving up. He has passed Dale Earnhardt, and Waltrip now in 2nd position. By the way, Goodyear will be donating a check for $1,000 to the Winston Cup Racing Wives Auxiliary in the name of our pole sitter, Jeff Bodine.
Darrell Waltrip is on the move. I tell you, another guard's on the move. We talked about him a moment ago, Rusty Wallace. We'll get back to him in a second, folks, but he's up in 6th spot already. We're watching, there he is. We're watching just close in on the back of Morgan Shepherd, up to 6th from 17th starting position.
Make it 5th now. He has moved around Mark Martin. So he really is on the move.
Wow. You know, we talked about the fellows that dominated in the 80s. Darrell Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt. Folks, they're coming to the front.
They really are. They know how to get around this racetrack and what it takes to win. And so they're moving right along.
Rusty Wallace started 17th, was up to 13th at the end of 40 laps, and is currently 5th as we have completed 78. He is all over Morgan Shepherd.
That looks like the Rusty Wallace of old. So far in 19, there he moves right on the inside of Morgan Shepherd and takes over 4th position. So far in 1990, you know, he just hasn't shown the form that he has the last few years, but they have been working very hard. Barry Dodson, the crew chief, Jimmy Maycar, Harold Elliott, the engine builder, and all of that. For more on that, let's go to the 5th Jerry Punch.
Well, Ned, they've been trying some experimental stuff, and you and I both know that sometimes you can out-engineer yourself as far as a race car. They've been the dominant car in the handling department because of the wizardry of Barry Dodson and Jimmy Maycar over the years. Last week at Wilkesboro, they tried a different 3-link setup, a 3-link hookup for the rear end. This week they went back to the old setup. They took the same race cars with the rear end out front, went back to the old long trailing arm. Back to the basics is what they call it, and apparently the basics are paying off here for Rusty Wallace.
Indeed, Rusty Wallace in 4th position now as he closes in on the 21 car of Dale Jarrett.
Now, Jared, when Darrell Waltrip spun him going into turn 1, came in, they changed the right side tires on the Citgo Ford and didn't change the left side. Now, what that has anything to do with it or not, I don't know. Has a new associate sponsor on the Citgo Ford today, the GE Electronic, the employees of Lynchburg, Virginia, and one of their electronic department's associate sponsor on that car.
Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Jeff Hammond, the crew chief on this car.
Jeff, Darrell is moving through traffic very well. Is he using up the car at all, or is he taking it easy?
Well, right now we've been on him to try not to use up very much of the tires or the brakes, and he's pretty smart about doing that. You know, that won't really show up till later on in the race, but we've been on him pretty hard early on to stay off the brakes and save the tires.
How have the radials performed so far?
So far, the tires are really working good. Looks like the sun's going to pop through, so, you know, it's liable to change things a little bit, but we've got a pretty good handle on it right now. That could change, but we feel pretty good so far.
Well, we are early on in the race, but for right now, it looks like Darrell Waltrip is poised to make a bid for his 4th straight victory at Martinsville.
And look at this battle.
Great
Rusty
battle
Wallace.
for 3rd spot here. It's Rusty Wallace passing Dale Earnhardt, and Rusty has moved all the way up to 3rd.
Didn't look like Earnhardt challenged him too much. He gave him the racing room he needed up on the outside. He saw Rusty coming in the mirror, and I'm sure that his crew was keeping him up to date on where Rusty had come from back in the pack and moving. So he said, okay, let him go. I won't use my race car up too much. Let him use his up. Now, maybe Rusty's not using too much up, but he's gaining on Darrell Waltrip, who is running 2nd, and Jeff Bodine, who is leading this race.
Very impressive movement toward the front for Rusty Wallace. Do you have to be more cautious on the track now, since your team has been struggling so much in the early part of the 90 season?
You know, I feel bad that we haven't been doing as good as I like to the very first part of the year, but I think that I sit down and I look at each individual race. People look at the finishes, they look at the overall picture, and they go, man, this thing's going terrible for them. But there's a reason for everything that's happened. There's been bad luck in 3 of those races that brought me from 2nd to points back to 11th. Well, I got the same crew, the same people, engine builders and everything. We got good tires. We got everything we need. We got all the surplus. We just got to get a little luck on our side right now. And believe me, we're down. We're not out. We're not going to quit.
And it appears as if the luck is smiling on Rusty Wallace this afternoon. He is in 3rd and closing in rapidly on 2nd place, Darrell Waltrip.
Yes, he is definitely gaining on him. No question, the Miller Pontiac of Rusty Wallace is running well. Here's the leader, Jeff Bodine, the Budweiser Ford, and Junior Johnson is not here today. Normally he would be here, but a sad situation on Friday night. Brent Cochran, who Junior and Flossie Johnson raised really from boyhood, just like a child of his own, was killed in an automobile accident, and certainly our sympathy goes out to Junior and Flossie and Brent's parents and all who are involved.
There's Jeff Bodine running behind Ernie Irvin. Now we'll see how close the 17 car is to Jeff. There's the 2nd place car of Darrell Waltrip. Car smoking over in the 2nd corner is Terry Labonte. And there you can see the 3rd place car on the right side of your screen. That's Rusty Wallace. So there are the intervals, and here is Terry Labonte as he pits on the backstretch. Some smoke is seen from that number 1 Oldsmobile, and Terry Labonte is bringing it in for a look-see by the crew. The top 10 here at the Hanes Activewear 500 in Martinsville, Virginia. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Stay with us.
In 1909, George Pepperdine founded Western Auto with a mail order flyer for Model T parts. Now, Western Auto has become the leader for auto parts and service in America. And today, Western Auto has joined Winston Cup Racing as the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR.
This week at Western Auto, get AC standard or resistor spark plugs for just 88 cents each. Remember, AC plugs don't just fit, they match.
Now it's official. Gentlemen and ladies, start your engines at Western Auto.
Barbazole gel gives you a super close shave like the other gel, but at a great Barbazole price.
Your Barbazole gel, sir. For change.
Barbazole gel. No wonder it appeals to the rich.
At Ford, we know that staying ahead means looking ahead.
Ford trucks, the best ever ran.
With ideas like the most advanced electronic automatic transmission designed for smoother shifting and improved gas mileage. Another reason Ford trucks keep pulling farther ahead of the pack.
Ford trucks, the best ever ran.
The best built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan back at Martinsville, Virginia, where Jeff Bodine in the number 11 Budweiser Ford leads the Hanes Activewear 500, running in second position. There he is, the bright yellow and orange number 17, driven by Darrell Waltrip, and closing in rapidly is Rusty Wallace in car number 27. Rusty, I think, probably has the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
I think you're right, Bob, because he has made up the most ground, obviously starting furthest back, and he's up on the back bumper of Darrell Waltrip, and both those cars are closing in on Jeff Bodine.
You know, somebody else that's showing some real strength here is the Alan Kowicki, number 70X Ford. He started 20th, moved to 16th, moved to 9th, and currently is in 5th position. One of the best runs of the year so far for Alan Kowicki, as we have almost completed 1/5 of this event.
He's putting a lap on Richard Petty, and his car is working very well down on the inside. The D-Rex Ford. Here is Rusty Wallace now about to catch Darrell Waltrip.
Battle for second position.
Waltrip is, you see, only about 3 or 4 car lengths behind Jeff Bodine.
They are closing in on Jeff Bodine. They went in that looked like they gained 6 car lengths going in the corner. And look, Rusty's going to drive up on the outside of Darrell.
Here's Rusty coming off the 4th corner. Isn't going to make an attempt to pass.
Come on, Rusty. Making me look bad, buddy.
Here we go. Goes up high again.
Well, Darrell gave him the room that he needed, but just couldn't quite get up there that time. But he'll keep trying. You can rest assured.
There are the first 3.
Did you see that little bit of a wiggle?
Yep.
That's what John Kernan was talking about over in turn 2. Several guys had that little bit of a wiggle, and it was more than that. Spun out during practice and qualifying this week.
That might not be the best place to try to make that outside pass.
No.
Brett Bodine was one of those who spun during a practice period. Look at the traffic ahead of the leader, and now we're going to see a real battle here. It's going to be who survives the traffic situation. Bobby Hillen goes a lap down as Bodine passes him on the inside. That's Ricky Rudd just ahead of the leader now. And the 17 car of Waltrip and the 27 of Rusty Wallace come right along and also pass Bobby Hillen. Now Bodine moves to the outside, try to pass Ricky Rudd. And Wallace pulling alongside and taking second place from Waltrip.
Quite impressive by Rusty Wallace this afternoon.
Yeah, that car just seems to go anywhere that he wants to put it, and that's what you need on a tight racetrack like this, is one that you can go high or low or wherever. Now he moves up on the outside. Bodine having trouble moving on around Ricky Rudd, and that has allowed the 27 of Rusty Wallace and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip to catch up to him. Now Bodine gets back on the inside. I think Bodine's tires are beginning to go away a little bit on him. He's not running as fast as he was a little bit earlier.
And we should be seeing some pit stops, what, in the next 10, 15, 20 laps, something like that?
Well, not for fuel, Bob. They can probably run 160, 70 laps on gasoline. Tires is the question mark, and no one knows the answer to that, because this is the first time that radials has ever been run here in Martinsville, so no one knows just how long it's going to take before the tires go away. John Kernan can tell us what's going on down the Darrell Waltrip pit as far as tires is concerned. John?
Benny, Jeff Hammond and Darrell have been talking on the radio. It's apparently a fuel pressure problem. Darrell's telling Jeff that the gauge has been jumping up and down, but like you said, he should not be running low on fuel, only 108 laps into the race, but apparently there is some sort of a problem, and the crew has put their heads together to try and figure it out, and I'm sure we'll see them go to work on that whenever they come in for their pit stop.
Darrell is dropping off the pace just a little bit, but maintains 3rd position. He's now a couple of car lengths behind Rusty Wallace in 2nd.
Now there are 17 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Bodine trying to pass Dave Marcus, who is currently in the 17th position.
Here's a good battle. The 66 car is Dick Trickle. He's 7th. Then comes the 15 of Morgan Shepherd.
And the 6 car of Mark Martin behind the Morgan Shepherd automobile. Watching from the in-car camera as Morgan Shepherd just drives up on the back bumper.
Here's the perspective of Mark Martin.
We got that 15 car surrounded with cameras, don't we?
No kidding. Looking at him from the front and from the rear. Trickle
trying to go outside an automobile. That's
the Jeff Purvis car. And look on the, see that yellow car right on the back of 6?
Coming right along, isn't he?
Michael Waltrip. Ned, he told you right.
And
Here he goes.
He's trying to move inside of Mark Martin coming off the 4th corner.
Mark Martin started in 4th position. Michael Waltrip started 23rd.
Waltrip is 9th. And now Rusty Wallace, beginning to crave some paint with the leader, Jeff Bodine.
And all the fans stand up. The Ford fans said, keep him back. The Pontiac fans say, pass him.
Rusty has got to be feeling, as you said, Ned, like the Rusty Wallace of old. This is the way that he performed last year, but has been slow to show us anything this year. But now he is really putting the heat on and about to take the lead from Jeff Bodine. Indeed, Rusty Wallace goes to the front.
That boy feels like a weight has been lifted. Watch him as he comes off turn 2. Get a little bit sideways, but he feels like a weight has been lifted from his shoulders because this is the first race of the year that he has looked like the Winston Cup champion, Rusty Wallace.
And off the pace is Harry Gant in car number 33. That car very slowly down into turn 3 and 4. And Harry Gant waves to the competitors behind him, telling them that he is off the pace and may be headed for pit road. He'll pit on the backstretch. Things don't look good for the Skull Bandit.
He won his first ever Winston Cup race here at Martinsville.
There you can see the pit crew waiting on him on the backstretch. We're live at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia for the Hanes Activewear 500.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Out of the night that covers me, I thank whatever fates may be for my unconquerable soul. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. BMW motorcycles, worth the obsession.
Live, high-speed excitement that drives fans wild. The Indy 500 time trials. 97 entries, battling for 33 starting positions. And only speed will set them apart.
And it's a new track record.
The thrills of Indy, Sunday, May 13th, live on ESPN.
The top 5 at the end of 120 laps here at Martinsville. It's Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip, Alan Kowicki, and Dale Earnhardt. And tonight at 8 o'clock here on ESPN Live, the Chicago Cubs against the Los Angeles Dodgers as Sunday Night Baseball happens here on ESPN. The Cubs, of course, the defending National League champions. They'll be in action against the LA Dodgers. Join us at 8 o'clock tonight live here on ESPN. The number 33 car of Harry Gant is on pit road, as is the Rick Wilson car.
Well, Wilson came out of the pits. He only changed right side tires, Bob. But the Harry Gant car, you can see looking out through his windshield there that they're apparently trying to cool the car off. The hood is up on the car, and now we see it from the outside.
That's brakes they're trying to cool off.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, Harry's brakes have went away, and they've got a garden hose trying to cool them down.
Jerry Punch is with Barry Dotson, the crew chief on Rusty Wallace. He's the leader of the race.
Couldn't give this team any better medicine to see Rusty go in the lead a minute ago. Here with Barry. Barry, the car is really dialed in. What have you guys done? The car running so well.
We haven't done anything. The biggest thing is we haven't forgotten how to race. We've had some tough breaks in weeks past, and we work hard. We're working hard. We're trying to get back on top, and everything's working well right now.
After he took the lead, you were talking here. What'd you say to him?
I told him take it easy a little bit. You know, we got ahead of Jeff, and I said, well, everything's just going great. Just hang on, do a good job.
From 17th to the front, now they want him to back down and take care of those brakes. Hey, by the way, most of the lead cars are expecting to pit somewhere around lap 150 to 155.
has to be a great psychological burden lifted from Rusty Wallace. Look at this battle for 5th position. It's Dale Earnhardt and Dick Trickle at number 66, and you saw that they were about a half a lap behind the leader. Ooh, Trickle with a little wiggle coming off the second corner, but he is trying to get to the inside of Earnhardt and take over 5th.
As that turn 2 we talked about, as the car came off the corner, got a little bit loose. He's on the inside of Earnhardt going down in turn 1.
And Dick Trickle pulls alongside of Dale. They race through the corner side by side, come off of it.
They're still side by side. No one able to gain an advantage.
Trickle now with about a half a car length advantage, but Earnhardt comes back on the high side. And Trickle crosses the stripe with about a half a car length advantage on Earnhardt, and now
Morgan Shepherd's going to try to follow in that hole that Dick Trickle has started.
And look, right behind them was Michael Waltrip in the yellow car. He continues to march towards the front. Now Shepherd drives hard into turn 3. Earnhardt hanging tough up there on the outside.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th here. Looking back now out of Dick Trickle's car.
While all this racing is going on, Bob, Rusty Wallace has just put a lap on Bill Elliott. Elliott running in the 14th position, so now there are 13 cars in the lead lap.
Michael Waltrip drives on the inside again of Earnhardt, trying to take that photo.
Dale Earnhardt seems like he's caught out there in the outside groove, but on the other hand, he doesn't seem to be in any particular hurry to get down low.
Well, when he goes down low, he's got to run awfully hard. These guys have caught him. That means they're faster than he is. So if he moves on the inside, he's going to have to run the car harder than he wants to run it. He's going to let these guys go by and just kind of hang in there. There's Kyle Petty in the pits, making a huge chassis adjustment to the left rear of that automobile.
There's the battle on the racetrack. First possibly of regularly scheduled pit stops coming on lap 131 for Kyle Petty.
They changed 4 tires.
Michael Waltrip moving right up on the back bumper of Morgan Shepherd's car.
But you know, one thing that's going to hurt Michael Waltrip, Benny, unless to stay green. Now, to stay green, okay, but he's pitting on the backstretch as Kyle Petty comes out of the pits into Peak Antifreeze Pontiac. But Michael Waltrip hitting on the backstretch as a result of his qualifying speed, and if he has to pit under caution, that's really going to hurt him, as we saw Dale Jarrett here last year in that same position.
So we're going to see how the new tires react, because Kyle Petty has made a pit stop, has 4 new tires. Let's see if he's able to go ahead and pass these cars. Normally the new tires are a little bit better. Mark Martin is trying to move up on alongside of Dale Earnhardt, not able to make it.
And ahead of this group of cars in 3rd position, well, Michael getting a little out of shape here coming off the 4th corner.
Yeah, he and his buddy Kyle bumped just a little bit there, and Kyle goes on by. So Benny, apparently those new tires are a little faster.
Yes, they look that way.
Okay, now we will go back up toward the front of the pack and check in on the number 7 car of Alan Kulwicki. He has moved up to 4th position, and the 17 car of Waltrip is in 3rd.
And Alan Kulwicki qualified 20th this afternoon. That's another car that's pitting on the back straightaway. So if the caution flag comes out, he and the 30 car Michael Waltrip are going to have some problems, because they're going to have to wait till all the cars on the front straightaway pit before they can go in the pit.
The number 27 car, Rusty Wallace, the leader of the race, is in traffic.
He had just put a lap on Brett Bodine. Brett running in the 13th position, because now there are 12 cars in the lead lap.
Going to the outside and passing Bill Sedgwick.
You know, Brett Bodine early in the race was one of the best cars here. Now he's a lap down, so obviously they don't have the radio figured out quite as well as Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine, Darrell Walton, some of the other guys.
Brett has moved up to 3rd from his 8th starting position before he started moving back in the field, and now has gone a lap down.
And Jeff Bodine, his brother, passes by on the outside and also puts a lap on his brother Brett. There's the interval between 1st and 2nd. There is Wallace. The 2 car separates 1st and 2nd. That's Rick Mast. He is not on the lead lap. This battle settling down somewhat as Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt now are running nose to tail.
Well, Earnhardt has been passed by both Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin, so he continues to fall back.
Back to 9th spot in the Goodwrench Chevrolet.
looks like most of the cars are loose. In other words, they're trying to spin out. The cars, as they come off the corner and they get on the accelerator, the cars are wanting to spin the rear tires too much. The cord you see hanging on Mark Martin's car is the power cord for the radio that hooks on the helmet. That's how he's able to plug in the radio. We can see it there dangling beside his head.
Mark Martin continuing to work on Morgan Shepherd as Rusty Wallace continues to lead this race. He's passing the king, Richard Petty, once again, and dropping the king another lap down. We'll show you the top 10 here. We should be having regularly scheduled pit stops in just a few moments. Before we do, we'll take this break and be right back to Martinsville.
Ford trucks. Take one for a nice, quiet ride in the country.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cart is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
I don't want you to love me like you used to do. Commitment. What did she call the last 11 months? My hair feel curly and my eyes feel blue. That's the way she wants it. Hey, if she can go her way, we'll go our way. You know what I mean?
One day it could all come down to a few inches. For those few inches, it's good to know you have Goodyear tires.
You think someone's trying to tell us something up there?
That's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
She gets another shot.
Lots of motor oils claim to be tough. Quaker State puts it in writing.
Ask your participating service center about Quaker State's tough lubrication guarantee.
Only a tough motor oil can make a guarantee this tough. Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Regularly scheduled pit stops beginning. The number 20 car, which is just pulling out of the pits, is Rob Moroso, and he reportedly ran out of fuel, and they're having a tough time getting that car started once again. They're pushing it down pit road. Meanwhile, Mark Martin's crew goes to work on the Folgers Ford and changes all 4 tires on that car. Ricky Rudd is also in the pits. And the 7 car has passed Darrell Waltrip and takes over 3rd.
Doing it on the outside. Waltrip gave him room, and Allen just moved up on the outside and moved around.
As they go into turn 1, there's Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin exiting the pits. Now, Mark Martin should be able just to drive away from the 7 and 17. Look, Darrell's going to try it back on the inside.
Well, you know, talking about Rob Moroso out of gas, he came into the pits on lap 143. That's not getting very good gas mileage. Normally, you can go about, what, 170 to 175 laps here?
I would say that the pickup in the fuel tank is in the wrong spot. There was some fuel in the gas tank, but it got away.
Dale Earnhardt coming into the pits in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Jerry Punch is there.
Scheduled pit stop for Dale Earnhardt in the Goodwrench car. The crew going to work on the right side of the car. They want to run about 148 to 155 laps on fuel, according to what the crews are telling me here. They have changed right side tires. 2-tire change. 11.7 seconds. He is out and away.
Good pit stop for Dale Earnhardt. He comes out on the racetrack by Phil Elliott.
Bob, how can you say good pit stop? That was a fantastic pit stop.
Yeah, here's Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford, and up in front of him is Brent Bodine. 4-tire change for both of those drivers. Bodine gets his service and goes away as Morgan, and you can see one of the crew members making a chassis adjustment on the left rear of Morgan Shepherd's car. And here's Morgan, his leader coming in the pits, and Jerry Punch is there.
Rusty Wallace will bring the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac up pit road. They will go to work on the right side of the car. Remember, Earnhardt took on only 2 right side tires. It looks like that's what Wallace will do likewise. First can of fuel going in, second can of fuel going in. Change the right side tires, keeping the car revved up. Barry Dodson will twist the jack up the car. 13.6 seconds, he is down and toward turn 1.
And Jerry coming right at you is the car number 11.
Jeff Bodine in the Budweiser Ford for Cooper Johnson. Tim Brewer goes to work on the right front tire. Pete Ryan and Jack beneath the car. Mike Hill. You hear the air which is in the background as they're trying to get those lug nuts off. Brewer now has the right front tire in place. The Jack has been twisted. And they will come around and hit the left side tire. The only one of the lead cars thus far to make a 4-tire change. The clock now still ticking away. Bodine sits in the car. Left front tire going down this year. 22.9 seconds of good pit stop here for the Budweiser crew.
And he gets 4 new tires, whereas everybody else just took on 2 tires. And we'll see what a difference that makes. The leader is Alan Kowicki in car number 7. Here he is off the 4th corner. Second place is Darrell Waltrip there in car number 17.
Kyle Petty, who has made a pit stop, and there's Alan Kowicki going into the pits on the backstretch for his service in the Z-Rex Ford. Let's see if they opt to take on 2 or 4 tires. They go to the right side.
They're changing 4 tires as well. They're taking the lug nuts off the left side as we watch them.
And you can see a chassis adjustment being made on that. He was loosening the right rear, which means that he was putting a little bit more weight on the left rear of the car, trying to get him a little bit more bite coming off the turn.
Oh, look at this. Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace are rubbing fenders out there.
See, Mark Martin stopped, changed 4 tires. Rusty Wallace changed 2 tires. So Mark Martin was a lap down. He has just unlapped himself. That's what I wanted to see, if 4 tires was that much better than 2. Right now, it looks like 4 tires is a decided advantage.
And Earnhardt only took on 2 tires, so it will be interesting to see as time goes by how much of a change it will make. Darrell Waltrip, the leader now in car number 17, the Tide Chevrolet. He normally runs a little bit longer than most of the other front runners. He gets off the good gas mileage, but the car seems like it's working pretty well for him now, so he's content to stay out there on those tires. Dick Trickle coming into the pits now.
And here's the crew cam. You Pat Royals, who changes the left rear on the Dick Trickle car.
Well, right rear, but okay, it's a rear.
Well, he might now go around. No, they only changed right side tires. They did not take on left side tires.
There's a face cam as we watch Dick go up through the gears and come back out to the racetrack.
You have to sort of turn right for a little bit when you come off the pit road here. Turn right to get out onto the racetrack. Stay down low on that next to the curbing, because then he blends into traffic.
Meanwhile, Darrell Waltrip still hasn't pitted. I don't know if there's any other cars that hasn't made a pit stop, but they're still going around the racetrack in that Tide Chevrolet.
Well, the crew's out there ready for him. You can see the sign. Here he comes down pit road right now.
John Kernan is there to report on this pit stop by Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell brings the Tide Chevrolet to a stop in his pits. It's going to be a 4-tire change. Jeff Hammond on the jack on the right side. They have the lugs off, the tires on, and now they're coming around. Sandy Jones is loosening up the left side, and you can see the brakes smoking. As he is smoking the brakes, Waltrip in for a 4-tire change. They have not made any chassis adjustments. They got the left. Now he was in neutral. 23.1 seconds, not a bad pit stop, and like we saw last week at North Wilkesboro, Darrell had the car in neutral when they let him down off the jack.
There was a lot of smoke on the right front of that automobile. It looked like brake smoke or something, but didn't you think the smoke was excessive there?
Yes, it was, more than you normally see. Here's Dick Trickle trying to move around Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip has the 4 new tires. Trickle only took on 2 right side tires. Now, whether Waltrip just hasn't gotten up to speed and he wants to sort of check the thing out before he dives down into the corner too hard. Now he's going to dive in there a little bit harder. But Trickle still moves by on the outside.
Yeah, pulls up on the back bumper. Yeah, that's twice we've seen Darrell when he let the jack down in neutral. Last week at North Wilkesboro, we saw him on that 4-tire stop when they changed tires. He was in neutral this time as well.
Is that a mental lapse or?
Yes, it is. And it's something that race car drivers do a lot of. I've done a lot of those in my life as well. They let the jack down and you're in such a haste to get going, you forget that you haven't put the car back in gear. You're sitting there in neutral.
Let's go down to John Kernan. What about that smoke that we saw from Darrell's car, John?
Well, Bobby, it's no problem. What there is there's a little bit of oil. Benny and Ned might be able to tell you about the reasons why, but after they make the the first pit stop and they bring those tires in, you can see it's still smoking. There's just a little bit of oil around the wheel, and the wheels heat up quite a bit here on this track, and it's just burning it off.
So no major problem with the Darrell Waltrip car. There's some of the Goodyear radials that are being used here this afternoon at Martinsville for the very first time.
Darrell Waltrip desperately trying to get by Dick Trickle, because why he wants to get by so bad, Rusty Wallace is not that far behind him to put him a lap down. Remember, Rusty Wallace only changed 2 tires. Darrell changed 4, so Rusty Wallace just about 5 or 6 seconds behind Darrell to put him a lap down.
And they're running for 4th and 5th position there. Dick Trickle running 4th and Darrell Waltrip running 5th now after those pit stops.
And there is Rusty, car number 27, as he is the leader of this race. Just ahead of him is Mark Martin and Rob Moroso. We'll be back with more of our live coverage from Martinsville, Virginia after this.
Lately, Showtime's made some overinflated claims. They say they have big movies, but it's HBO that has 7 out of 10 of the year's top films. Hits like Twins, Ghostbusters 2, and HBO exclusives like Rain Man and The Naked Gun. Movies you just won't see on Showtime. And HBO has the fights that make boxing history, along with nearly twice as many original programs. So considering all the facts, HBO is simply the best.
Who's that? Our neighbor, Orrin. Ever since he got his new Murray, he's been mowing the whole neighborhood.
When you pay good money for a mower, you want it to be tough and dependable.
Does such a good job, we're making the yard bigger. What? Does such a
Murray
good...
mowers are as tough as they come, cutting after cutting after cutting.
That Murray's a good buy.
What?
Goodbye.
Oh, say hello to Edna.
Murray mowers, tough as they come. The Ford Thunderbird. A perfect car for a nice Sunday drive.
Welcome back to the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, located in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Rusty Wallace leads the Hanes Activewear for 500 at the end of 173 laps. And here is Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt and Dick Trickle running very close together on the racetrack in the battle for third position.
And Darrell Waltrip just took it over from Dale Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett pulled the Citgo Ford behind the wall.
Running in second spot behind Waltrip is Jeff Bodine, and then comes the 17 of Waltrip. And there's Rusty Wallace.
Most impressive, Rusty Wallace changed 2 tires. Mark Martin changed 4 tires. Rusty Wallace has repassed Mark and put him another lap down.
Here's our Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance on Rusty Wallace. This was a 2-tire change. The driver 13 seconds, the crew 13.7 for a total of 26.7 seconds. Now the result of all that, well, he pitted on lap 151, came in the lead, and went out in the lead. So he maintained his position during that pit stop. Now Alan Kowicki, on the other hand, took on 4 tires as he passes Dale Earnhardt. His Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance showed it took him 12.3 seconds, and the crew 26.3 to change 4 tires for a total of 38.6. And the result was in 4th, out in 6th. So he took on 2 additional tires and lost 2 positions.
That's not too bad. He's already got one of those positions back when he passed Dale Earnhardt. I think I misspoke a little bit when I said that Martin was another lap down. He's only 1 lap down. But he is, in fact, a lap down. Rusty Wallace, with 2 tires, able to pass Martin.
And there are 6 cars now on the lead lap. lap running in 6th.
Well, now, of course, he has been passed, or has passed Dale Earnhardt, so Earnhardt's the last car on the lead lap at the moment, and Bob is only about 2/3 of the back straightaway in front of Dale Earnhardt from going a lap down. I'm talking about, I should have said from Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt crosses the start-finish line, and here comes Rusty Wallace, and Rusty is only 2 6/10 seconds behind him. Put a lap on him.
Let's get out to Jerry Punch, who's with Dale Jarrett in for a behind-the-wall stop. Jerry?
Well, Bob, as you can see, they have the car jacked up, and Dale still sits inside the Cisco Ford. Dale, what's the problem with the car?
Well, we've either got a clutch problem or the ratchet in the rear end's come out of it. It's just spinning the wheels all the way down the straightaway. It seemed to happen after Darrell spun me out over there. First of all, I don't know what he was doing that early in the race. It wasn't like I was holding him up or anything, and he hit me in the left rear quarter panel there and just turned me around. Maybe I did something when the car was spinning there, but it hasn't run right since. I don't know if we can fix it or not. It just keeps revving the engine up more and more.
Tough break for Dale Jarrett. He qualified so well, was running up front early on.
Dale, of course, still in substitution for Neil Bonnet, who continues to make progress from his bout with amnesia following a crash during the Trans-South 500 at Darlington. The 15 car, Morgan Shepherd, is not on the lead lap anymore. He's right behind the leader and would like very much to get that lap back.
Yes, he has passed Mark Martin, who is a lap down, and is coming up on Rusty Wallace. Now, Morgan Shepherd did take on 4 tires and made a chassis adjustment on the Motorcraft Ford, so they're catching Dale Earnhardt, who is the last car in the lead lap.
Ricky Rudd running right behind Dale. Then comes Richard Petty, and then the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Of course, we mentioned there are 6 cars in the lead lap currently. Rusty Wallace the leader, Jeff Bodine running 2nd, Darrell Waltrip 3rd, Dick Trickle 4th, Alan Kulwicki 5th, and Dale Earnhardt in 6th place. Morgan Shepherd now in 7th. The car right behind Rusty Wallace, and we're trying to get his lap back, but so far has not been successful.
So Rusty Wallace continues to lead here at Martinsville, and in fact is what you might call dominating this race at the moment with 185 of 500 laps completed.
If you love cars, you'll love Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring. Every week, Auto Week puts you inside the world's most exciting cars: GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, old cars, columnists, the best classified anywhere. And nobody covers racing like Auto Week. You get the fastest coverage of Formula One, sports cars, stockers, Indy cars. It's all in Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring every week. Call 1-800-554-3000 to get a full year of Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $19.95 for 52 issues, only 38 cents a week. You'll save 80% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-554-3000. Let Auto Week put you in the driver's seat every week.
Sunday night, all-star second baseman Ryne Sandberg leads the Cubs' offensive attack against the strong-arm Dodgers. It's Sunday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Baseball tonight.
This Track Fact is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
You've all heard us talk about brake bias on a race car. And what is brake bias? Basically, it's the difference between the front and the rear brakes. All race cars have 2 master cylinders, one that controls the front brake and one that controls the rear brakes on Winston Cup competition. This red knob is mounted beside the driver inside the cockpit of the car. He is able to dial this knob forward or backward, therefore giving him more front brake or more rear brake. Now that's helpful in a lot of ways, particularly on the short tracks. He can get the car to turn a little better in the corners by doing that. Now, how does that work? When he dials this knob exactly, it causes a pivoting here of this rod on either side of the brake pedal, therefore allowing a pivoting of the rods going into the master cylinder, therefore allowing less or more brake on the front or rear. This could be helpful in a lot of ways too when you have a lot of brake wear. For example, at Martinsville, Virginia, you use a lot of front brakes. During the race, you may want to dial back away from the front brakes and use more rear brake for a few laps, it may slow you down, but you'll cool those front brakes and save them for the end.
Brakes, a word synonymous with Martinsville, Virginia Speedway. The 3 and 15 cars are neither on the lead lap, but boy, they are having a heck of a time out there.
They're running 6th and 7th. Morgan Shepherd just took over 6th from Dale Earnhardt. Now there are 5 cars in the lead lap, as Rusty Wallace went around Dale Earnhardt a little bit earlier and put a lap on him.
Morgan Shepherd might be as fast as Rusty Wallace. The car's running awfully well now. Rusty Wallace not able to drive away from him, but he is 1 lap down. He needs to get up, catch the 27 car, and pass him. Catching him might be easy. Passing him might be another short.
Few cars have dropped out of this race. There are a few behind the wall, but attrition really hasn't been that bad so far this afternoon.
Terry Labonte, Harry Gant, Sterling Marlin, the 21 car, Dale Jarrett. Some cars that have fallen out.
Lead, Rusty Wallace. There he is. We're going to allow you now to watch for your favorite driver again as we lock down the camera in turn number 1. We'll time the leader as he traverses this half-mile racetrack in Martinsville. Watch for your favorite driver to come through, and you can see where he is running in relationship to the leader of the race. There goes Ernie Irvin.
Remember, it was 21.6 the last time that we did this and clocked the leader.
You saw Darrell Waltrip was about 16 or 17 seconds behind as Rusty Wallace.
21.9 on that lap.
So he really haven't slowed down that much.
Bill Elliott in car number 9 just went 2 laps down. Bill is running in 13th position. Just went 2 laps down. Morgan Shepherd moves around him.
Somebody else that's had a very disappointing season so far. And John Kernan has more on the Bill Elliott story.
I talked to Bill Elliott early this morning. Bill said he just has not got the radial tire figured out just yet, but he is feeling better and better with each week that he races on it. He told me he was really looking forward to getting to Talladega for next weekend. So Bill might be looking ahead at this time.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, John, that a lot of these guys who aren't doing well here this afternoon will be stars next weekend at Talladega. Dick Trickle is really loose. Saw the back end come around on the car there coming off the second corner. He's following Brett Bodine.
Yes, Alan Kowicki passed him not too many laps to go for the 4th position. Trickle running in 5th place right now, but the back end does get loose when he comes off the turn. Trying to stay away from the wall back there.
Watch the car come off the corner and get right against that wall.
He's on the backstretch now, heading into turn 3.
As loose as the car is, Bob, he's not going to come out against that wall like he normally would. If the car was tight enough, he would go right out against that wall. But now he has to stay away because being loose, the back end can jump out and slap it almost any time.
Now, Brett Bodine in the green car number 26 there, currently running in the 12th position. He is 1 lap down. The winner last week at North Wilkesboro. See the car number 57 of Jimmy Spencer up in front of Brett Bodine as Trickle tries to maneuver by both of them. Boy, he's working that steering wheel.
Ooh, contact.
That's Brett Bodine and Jimmy Spencer coming together.
Ooh, boy, they hit pretty hard, but they managed to maintain control, both of them. Jimmy Spencer and Brett Bodine slapping fenders. Here comes Trickle around both of them.
Yeah, he took advantage of that, moved up to the outside, and was moving around.
And meanwhile, Rusty Wallace sneaks up on Brett Bodine and tries to put him another lap down. Here is the replay.
And all that was happening right in front of the leader as Brett Bodine tried to move the inside of Spencer, and Spencer came down just a little bit, and they got together. Oh, yeah. 3 wide. No, don't do that.
Rusty is got a fast car, but he's had second thoughts there about pulling a stupid move that would have perhaps gotten him in trouble.
Yeah. Look at Morgan Shepherd on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace. As I said a moment ago, catching him might be easy. Passing another problem. You see Morgan not able to get a grip coming off turn 4, even with the 4 tires. He moved up high and could not get the grip he needed to get by Rusty Wallace.
Said Morgan did put on 4 tires. Here's Harry Kent going back out. He's been in for a long time, but he's going back out into action. But Morgan took on 4 tires during his green flag pit stop. Rusty Wallace only took on outside tires.
Rusty Wallace, very strong. here at Martinsville, is trying to put a second lap on Brett Bodine. There's Dick Trickle running in 5th spot.
Now, once Trickle moved around Brett Bodine and Jimmy Spencer, he just drove away from him.
And right behind them.
We have a replay of the bump here from Dick Trickle's car. Watch. Ooh!
You know, I believe Jimmy Spencer was expecting Brett Bodine to go on the outside of him, and he started to come down and give him that room, and Brett had made the commitment to go on the inside.
Let's go to John Kernan with an update on the 66 car.
Bob, I'm talking with Doug Williams, and Doug, Dick seemed to be a little bit loose a few laps ago. Is he having a problem?
Not really. The top party Pontiac is a little bit tied up off the corner right now. We're just trying to stay in front of the leader.
Dick Trickle trying to ride it out right now, a little bit tight, and he wants to stay on the lead lap.
Well, he has perhaps 10, maybe 12 car lengths between himself and the leader, Rusty Wallace,
who has not been able to move around Brett Bodine. Now, Bodine is about to go 2 laps down, but Rusty has just not been able to move around him.
The 11 car is about 11 seconds behind the leader, Rusty Wallace. Brett Bodine, or rather Jeff Bodine, is second, about 11 seconds behind Rusty.
Which is about a half a lap, and Ricky Rudd slows dramatically on the front straightaway in car number 5. Ricky was running 2 laps down, but he is going very slow on the back stretch.
There is Jeff in second position.
Yeah, he has these 5-car. Ricky Rudd has no brakes at all. As a matter of fact, folks, in a moment we'll get a shot of that 5-car when he hits the brakes. We can see Rudd going around. There's no brakes at all. Jerry Punch, is that correct? No brakes?
That's exactly the problem, Benny. They told him to come in and make a pit stop, but he's trying to get the car slowed down and get down with the inside and get on the pit road. But that's apparently getting to be more and more of a problem. We predicted earlier today. He has absolutely no way of stopping the car.
Levi Garrett Chevrolet, driven by Ricky Rudd without brakes here at Martinsville. Still out there in competition, however, but he slowed the car way, way down.
Now he's coming. No, he's not. I thought he was coming down pit road, but he's going to stay out on the racetrack.
I guess he wants to make sure that when he does come into the pits that he can get stopped.
No, what he's doing right now, he thinks if he rides around and doesn't use the brakes for a lap or two, they'll cool enough that he might have a brake. But I doubt that very seriously. We see his hand on the door as he goes down the front straightaway. Because a moment ago, I saw him hit the brakes going in turn 1 and smoke jump out of the left front. So that means to me that he's blown a seal or something and the fluid just going out of the caliper.
There's a pit crew standing by in case Ricky does come in, but at the moment he stays on the racetrack. We're live at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia for the Hanes Activewear 500, and we'll be right back.
One Tough Motor Oil announces one tough guarantee. The Quaker State 250,000-mile or 10-year guarantee. Register your new car at a participating service center. Then use only Quaker State. Have oil and filter changed as directed at a service center, and if any lubricated engine part suffers an oil-related breakdown within 250,000 miles or 10 years, you're covered. Quaker State guarantees it in writing. The big Q is one Tough Motor Oil.
When choosing a new car, don't compromise. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme SL is longer and wider, yet accelerates faster than Ford Taurus. It's more powerful, yet gets better highway gas mileage than Honda Accord. And it has a better owner satisfaction plan than both. Which obviously makes Cutlass Supreme the smarter choice, all the way around.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Now get up to $2,600 cash back on a 1990 Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds dealer today.
Nothing beats #1. Nothing beats the king of beers. Nothing beats clean, crisp, and cold. This is the best, and we got it right here. Yeah. Nothing beats a Bud, yeah, nothing beats a Bud, yeah, nothing beats a Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud.
What could this off-road vehicle possibly have in common with this off-road vehicle. The same quality filter protection you can give your car from Purolator, the world's largest filter company.
NASCAR racing today. Winston Cup from Martinsville, Virginia. The Hanes Activewear 500. And we have just gone yellow because of a spin between turns 3 and 4 involving Derek Cope in car number 10. It comes out on lap number 219, so we're not yet quite halfway in this event. You can see that Derek did get up and bump the wall, and the sheet metal is rubbing against the tire. Here is the leader, and Jerry Punch is there.
Rusty Wallace comes in what we'll expect to be a 4-tire change here under the caution flag. Rusty's crew going to the right side of the car. Meanwhile, they're taking the left side lugs off. That's John Dotson pulling the left side lug nuts off. Here comes Barry Dotson around with the jack. John and Jimmy Maycar now come around. We'll put left side tires. Bodine on the bottom of the screen, 27 on top. Bodine's crew now getting the right side tires complete. Rusty is gone. Rusty is still here getting left side tires. They have now Tim Brewer taking the left side tire. All the cars on Tim Brewer now getting 4 tires. Oh, a near collision as Earnhardt pulled out and Martin jumped on the brakes. You may have noticed, fellas, Waltrip now coming down pit road as well. You may have noticed if you were looking down pit road, an extra crew member over the wall for most of the teams here. Well, that's a safety maneuver by NASCAR after what happened last week at Wilkesboro when that tire was struck on pit road and sent sailing airborne. As you see action on the back pits here at Martinsville, NASCAR has allowed an extra crew member over the wall starting here to retrieve the right rear tire because of the close quarters on the short tracks during pit stops. Ernie Irvin now brings the Kodak Films Delco Remy Oldsmobile down pit road. They were changing right side tires there. Now Tony Glover in the crew will go around to the left side. Glover making a serious chassis adjustment there. He has jacked some wedge in the car. He takes the left side tires off, roll them away, put new fresh Goodyear radials on, lug nuts back in place. They have already fueled the car, and they will drop the jack in. Ernie Irvin is down pit road. Well, let's go up pit road where John Curtin is standing by the Ricky Rudd car.
Thank you, Jerry. Ricky is sitting behind the wheel still. The netting is still up, and they're working on the left front brakes, wiping the sweat from his face. Ricky, what happened?
Well, we lost the brakes real early in the race. Tried to ride around slow, just try to keep brakes on the car. Couldn't do it, couldn't even ride slow and keep brakes. Finally, they went out altogether, so now we're in here changing the brakes around.
There you have it, Ricky Rudd, a dejected Ricky Rudd sitting in his car, and they are going to try and get him back out on the track to grab some more of those valuable Winston Cup points.
All right, the yellow remains out on the speedway as the safety car has the field in tow. 223 laps have been completed. Work going on the Ricky Rudd car. Just about everybody has completed a pit stop. The track crew is checking the track, and we should be back to green in just a moment.
The Quaker State King Racing Buick, winner of the 1989 Die Hard Award for the most tough NASCAR mile, is winning again in 1990 as Brett Bodine takes first in the first Union 400. It takes a tough oil to keep a car running this tough, and it takes a tough driver to step right in, step on it, and win. But number 26 is one tough car. Brett Bodine is one tough driver, and Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
When choosing a new car, don't compromise. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme SL is longer and wider, yet accelerates faster than Ford Taurus. It's more powerful, yet gets better highway gas mileage than Honda Accord. And it has a better owner satisfaction plan than both, which obviously makes Cutlass Supreme the smarter choice, all the way around.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Now get up to $2,600 cash back on a 1990 Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds dealer today.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $299.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
It'll start your day. Alarm, you'll be on your way. Bringing your day.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going.
Back at Martinsville, any idea what's coming up? Well, there's a hat, and Benny's hat of the week finds him going into the woods, big game hunting or something like that.
Boy, guys got to be careful wearing a hat like this around here. You could get shot like the moose did that Beulah Armstrong went hunting for. she got so excited about getting the moose, she sent me the hat all the way from St. John, New Brunswick. Beulah, thank you very much. Next Thursday night in Anniston, Alabama at the City Auditorium, they're having a sports fantasy auction. Not only items from all kinds of racing drivers and teams, but other sports as well. So if you're in the area, go by and check it out. Beulah, thank you very much for that. Oops, I got to go.
Well, Benny ducked. He missed it, didn't he?
Missed. And the green flag comes back out. The race resumes here at Martinsville. That's Rusty Wallace out front. Green out on lap 227. Jeff Bodine is second.
Just 5 cars on the lead lap. In third is Darrell Waltrip. Alan Kowicki.
Dick Trickle in 5th position.
Right.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a comment on the Hat of the Week and sportsmanship. Huh, Jerry?
There's a lot of sportsmanship in this NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Last week in Wilkesboro, Felix Sabatos, who owns the Kyle Petty team, was the honorary starter because it's something he'd always wanted to do was wave the green flag. And as a custom, they gave him the green flag. Well, he brought that green flag here to Martinsville.
Boy, when we're about to have trouble, Jerry, sorry to interrupt you there, but Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine got together coming off of turn 4 and almost wrecked, and they're still going at it.
Everybody gets sorted out. Nobody spun, but boy, oh boy, some bumping and banging going on.
Okay, Jerry, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, we were going to talk about sportsmanship, but I'm not sure we can now. But anyway, what I was going to say was that Felix Sabatos brought that green flag here, presented it to Brett Bodine, realizing how much Brett would cherish it coming from his first Winston Cup win. So there is some sportsmanship, maybe in the pits, if not on the racetrack. Gentlemen?
Well, let's take a look at the sportsmanlike or unsportsmanlike gesture that occurred here just a few minutes ago.
Dale Earnhardt goes in the corner, gets in the back of the Budweiser Ford. We see him get Jeff a little bit out of shape, and he tries to get inside of him. And they're going 3 abreast down in turn 1. That's Mark Martin on the outside. Now Dale goes down there, and they almost get together one more time.
Earnhardt a lap down, so he's trying to get up there to get a lap back, and they're running pretty aggressively.
Earnhardt going around Brett Bodine. He has one car now between himself and the leader of the race in his effort to unlap himself. Here's a Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance on Jeff Bodine. Driver time 14.2, crew 20 seconds. Second best pit stop we've seen for 4 tires, 34.2 seconds. Jeff Bodine, the Tim Brewer crew.
That was an excellent pit stop. Now he's trying to regain second position from Darrell Waltrip. Darrell got by him when Earnhardt and Bodine got together. Now Jeff trying to take over the second position again.
Good battle between these two. Bodine on the inside and Darrell Waltrip on the outside. And Alan Kowicki just lost 4th position to Dick Trickle. Now looking out back at Trickle's car to Alan Kowicki. Let's see what happened to Alan Kowicki that he lost 4th position.
Goes in the corner and the car just simply goes straight ahead. We see him smoke the brakes. John is down with Paul Andrews. What's the problem, John?
Well, Benny, we're trying to find out. Alan just lost 4th place. Is there a problem, Paul?
Well, right now everything's okay. The car's a little loose right now, looks like, but we'll front overcome. The car's staying on the lead lap. We're running up front. Right, we're fading back just a little bit right now. I'm trying to watch what's going on here. The Xerox 4 cylinder bird's running real good. We just hope to stay up there all day.
Has he said anything about a problem in turn 4? He's running awfully high up there.
Yeah, I just noticed that too, and he said that the car's just a little tight going in. It's going to make him push up there.
Well, they're hoping that they can run a few more green flag laps and get things back in score, I guess I should say. Having a little problem. This is the first time they put sticker tires on the car, and they're waiting to see how it reacts to those.
All right, let's take a look at it in real time now from Dick Trickle's in-car camera.
You can see Alan Kowicki in front of him there, and they go down the backstretch. Everything looks fine going into turn 3. And then the car just breaks loose, and boy, he almost gets in the wall. Dick Trickle just drives right around him. Oh, that was some great work by our in-car camera there. Followed Kowicki right up the racetrack. Those guys are always on the job. Remote controls, that amazes me how they do that.
Yeah, I would not want to try to do that.
You ever played a video game, Benny? No. So that's how they do it.
That's what I said. I wouldn't want to try that.
We mentioned there are 5 cars in the lead lap. Of course, Rusty Wallace leading, Jeff Bodine in 2nd place. In 3rd place is Darrell Waltrip. 4th, Dick Trickle and Alan Kowicki now in 5th. 1 lap down in 6th place is Mark Martin. In 7th place is the car number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. 8th is Morgan Shepherd. And 9th is Ken Schrader. Now in 10th place, Benny, more than 1 lap down.
Yes. Brett Bodine 2 laps down. Jimmy Spencer is 11th. Bill Elliott 12th. Michael Walker 13th. And Dave Marcus 14th. All those cars 2 laps down. 3 laps down. Rick Wilson in 15th and Ernie Irvin in 16th. That's all the rundown we have at this time.
There is Jeff Bodine running just behind his brother Brett. Jeff in 2nd spot. And there is the leader of the race.
No, it's not.
Mark
That's
Martin.
Mark Martin. Our leader's in front. There, the black car, the 27. That's the leader. Mike Wells trying to fool us up here.
So Rusty is pulling away from Jeff Bodine, who's running in 2nd place. Mark Martin's staying reasonably close, but he's not too close to threaten to get his lap back right now. Bobby Hillen goes another lap down.
So Rusty Wallace leads. We'll show you the top 10 as they stand at the moment in the Hanes Activewear 500 from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We'll be right back.
I don't worry about the quality of parts my mechanic uses. Put in whatever's cheapest, son. Heck, I'm gonna get rid of it once the ashtrays are full anyway.
Automotive technicians like your Big A Pro know quality service starts with quality parts, and your Big A Pro's got them. So look for the sign of the Big A Pro, your sign of quality parts and service nationwide.
So, how's it look, son?
You better hope your ashtrays fill up real fast.
Introducing the all-new DR and Street Legal Dual Sport models from Suzuki.
Pronto Auto Parts. From coast to coast, your local Pronto Auto Parts store features friendly service and quality auto parts at lower prices. Pronto's A1 remanufactured replacement parts are an economical and reliable alternative for your foreign and domestic car or truck. Quality and dependability are engineered into every Pronto A1 product, and most products have a limited lifetime warranty.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pro at Pronto.
Back at Martinsville, and a lot of traffic here on the backstretch. Jeff Bodine, the number 11, the 2nd place car, leads the group. Here comes Darrell Waltrip in car number 17. Between Bodine and Waltrip is Brett Bodine.
Jeff Bodine able to get back by Earnhardt. 2nd place.
No incident.
No
He
incident.
went by. Just drove right on by.
Again, we remind you that we have a 900 number in service. Now, you guys have been asking for some candid comments from the drivers and, in one particular case, a car owner. And if you dial 1-900-226-1000, you can hear Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Junior Johnson, and Darrell Waltrip answer the question, what is your most memorable moment in auto racing? And you're going to get some great responses from those 5 guys. The number to dial is 1-900-226-1000, $1.95 for the first minute and $1 for each subsequent minute.
Earnhardt's on the outside now. Bob can go in place. All the cars, 5 or 6 cars able to go by Dale Earnhardt.
And we've reached the halfway point of this event.
Trickle went in the corner and evidently hit the curb or something, which made his car leap to the right, almost in the side of the Dale Earnhardt automobile.
Earnhardt continuing to fall back, and a crash up in turn 3. Derry Cope is involved once again, and the 12 car of Jeff Purvis.
There's some heavy damage to the right side of the Jeff Purvis car, but I don't see a lot of damage to Derry Cope's car.
Derry Cope has been involved in 3 incidents so far today. He drives away from the crash. However, Jeff Purvis's car is stopped between turns 3 and 4. There you can see the safety workers have reached it.
What they're doing is the brakes are on fire. So they're over there with a fire extinguisher putting out the fire that caused when in the corner, and the brakes are just, when they stop, the brakes flare up.
And there you can see the pit stops are being made. Here comes Rusty Wallace, and Jerry Punch will report.
Would be expecting to see another 4-tire change. Rusty coming in. The crew now waiting on the right side of the car. And likewise, as we expect, 11 on the bottom of your screen, 27 to Wallace on the top. Crew now on the Modine car, changing right side tires. Likewise, the Wallace crew now having dropped their car off the jack. Barry Dodson around to the left side of the car. Now here comes Pete Rice, Tim Brewer, and the Budweiser crew to the left side of the Modine car. It's a race in the pits here under caution. Left side tires are on Walton's car. He's off the jack. He is down and away. Likewise, Modine car down and away. We're seeing all the way up pit road, and Modine is exiting here with the straighter. Mark Martin, Tony Shepard, Dale Earnhardt still getting left side tires put on it as the crew now making sure they get every lug nut in position. Left side tires, Shelburne now. They pull the jack away from the car. Goodrich Chevrolet moves back to turn 1.
Something happened on the right front of that automobile. I don't know exactly what happened, Jerry. You might check with Childress or someone down there, because they had a problem with the right front on the GM Goodrich car.
Now, fellas, the 4 of the 5 cars that are running on the lead lap are all pitting on the front stretch. Alan Kowicki, who was running 5th, is pitting on the back stretch. He has chosen not to make a pit stop, so he's the leader of the race.
Well, let's show you the crew cam now and the pit stop.
Pat Broyles, the right rear tire, or the rear tire changer on Dick Trickle's car. There we see Pat go around the right side. Lug nuts coming off. New tire coming in. All the lug nuts stayed on. Lug nuts are already loose.
On the left side he's working on now. Good pit stop.
Great pit stop. Absolutely amazing.
And let's go to Jerry Punch, and perhaps he can answer that question that Benny raised on the Earnhardt stop.
Good question, Benny. We know that Earnhardt's crew is one of the quickest here in the pits, and they were one of the last cars to exit pit road among the lead cars. And what they were doing was putting a lot of bite. I won't use the terminology that I was told, but the car is a little bit slick out there on the racetrack. So what they're going to try to do is put some bite in the car and get this lap back. They are serious about trying to get this lap back. They know Rusty is going to be an awful tough guy to get around here just past the halfway point. We are just past halfway here at Martinsville, Virginia, in the Hanes Activewear 500. Rusty Wallace showing the way with Jeff Woodard in second. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
ESPN's Home Video and Coors, the Rocky Mountain legend, present Bill Elliott, Racing into History, the only video that shows you why this man became a racer and how he became a champion. Hosted by ESPN's Benny Parsons, you'll feel the excitement of driving with Bill as he wins NASCAR's biggest prize, the Winston Million.
Bill Elliott gets the checker prize. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985.
Get an insider's look at the Dawsonville shops where Bill's cars are made. Ride with him at over 150 miles an hour and listen in as he and Ernie plan their race strategies.
I'll be about 2 rounds away to the left rear.
Order your copy for only $19.95. Call 1-800-533-1800. That's 1-800-533-1800. Bill Elliott is one of America's premier NASCAR drivers and most popular heroes, and Racing into History lets you enjoy the excitement of driving with Bill again and again. Call today, 1-800-533-1800.
May shifts into high gear on ESPN, starting with the Indy 500 time trials, where race cars exceed 200 miles an hour. Major League Baseball unleashes its blazing speed 4 nights a week, plus baseball tonight every night. Top tennis players try to control the tempo at the French Open, and these drivers are also looking for accuracy, not speed. But it's all out down the stretch with Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes specials. It's fast, it's live, in May on ESPN.
Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Purolator, the world's largest filter company. Pole winner Jeff Bodine grabbed the early lead here at Martinsville last year in the final race for the Chevy Monte Carlo body style. When Harry Gant, Chad Little, and Larry Pearson tangled in turn 4, Jeff got caught in the squeeze, ending his chances for victory. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace battled early in the race as Rusty was looking for his 4th victory of the 1989 season. But he completed only 272 laps before he had engine trouble, dropping him to a 31st place finish. Darrell Waltrip already had 9 wins at Martinsville and wanted to make it 10. He and Winston Cup points leader Earnhardt rubbed fenders and ran wheel to wheel for several laps. Waltrip made his final ride in the Monte Carlo a good one. As one of NASCAR's most successful cars went out in style, Waltrip took his 3rd win of the young season.
That was his 10th at Martinsville. He won the 11th last fall. He is the 2nd winningest driver here at Martinsville. Let's go down to John Kernan. Looks like that Kyle Petty has not yet gone out of the pits, John.
No, Bob, there's a problem on the right front tire on the brake, I should say. They're having a problem getting the pad out. Gary Nelson has a hammer, and he's trying to knock it out, and now they're putting the hood down. So I'm not sure if they got the problem fixed or not, but they're going to send Kyle back out after they put the tire back on.
Kyle was being shown in 22nd position, 4 laps down. Now, he had just made a green flag pit stop a while back before a caution came out, and everybody else pitted under caution, so he lost a couple of those laps during that.
Well, the safety vehicles are still getting themselves back into position, so it's going to be at least 1 more lap before we go back to green. And so while we have the opportunity, we'll take another break from Martinsville, Virginia.
What could this off-road vehicle possibly have in common with this off-road vehicle? The same quality filter protection you can give your car from Purolator, the world's largest filter company.
When trouble with your car has you feeling a little wobbly, hurry into your neighborhood Parts Plus Auto Parts store, because you can count on the pros at Parts Plus for the right parts the first time.
And right now, you can enter to win the Parts Plus Repair America sweepstakes for one of 5 all-American family vacations to a great destination like Disneyland or Walt Disney World Resort.
Car owners of all ages count on the pros at Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts store. We're Parts Plus. Well, I'm southbound, mama. Yeah, coming home to you.
Just went back to green on lap 263, and Jeff Bodine gets way high on the racetrack between turns 1 and 2, and the 75 car of Rick Wilson positions itself between the leader and 2nd place Jeff Bodine. The leader is Rusty Wallace.
Bodine runs 2nd.
Here's Rick Wilson, the yellow car on the inside, the Dinner Bell Oldsmobile, going down in turn 1, and it looks like his car did not stick like it should. He should be right down next to the yellow line, to the yellow curb, and goes up in the Bodine. Jeff has to carry his car up the hill to save from making contact with the Rick Wilson automobile. There he's trying to get inside of Rick Wilson, going down in the corner.
And they rub again in turn 2, but now Jeff comes out of the corner with the advantage. Here comes Mark Martin right behind Jeff Bodine and Morgan Shepherd.
So 3 to 4 is passing the Oldsmobile of Rick Wilson.
But the Pontiac, rather, of Rusty Wallace is checked out once again. Boy, that car is really working for Rusty today.
It sure is. Darrell Waltrip running 3rd, the Chevrolet. We've got a Pontiac leading, Ford 2nd, Chevrolet 3rd, Pontiac 4th, and then another Ford in 5th place.
The Folgers car that we're looking for the in-car camera, driven by Mark Martin, is a lap down. Also, the Morgan Shepherd car is a lap down. Those fellows would desperately like to get by Rusty Wallace, a caution flag coming out. They're back in the lead lap, but passing Rusty Wallace is going to be very, very difficult today.
Well, Jerry Punch is with Jeff Purvis, who took quite a lick over there in turn number 3. Jerry?
Well, Jeff has been checked out here by the Air Care Trauma Team that's on hand at Martinsville. They are from North Carolina Baptist Hospital down in Winston-Salem. Jeff, glad to see you're okay. What happened up there?
Well, I was going in the corner there, and Jared's coat got up under me a little bit. And I guess maybe he lost it as he's coming in the corner and just put us both into the wall. I ended up with the worst end of it, though, I see.
Quite an indoctrination to Winston Cup racing. You didn't get much time on the track at all coming here.
No, we just got a few practice laps earlier, and we didn't know what the car was doing. The car had a little bit of a push all day long, and we tried to get it worked out. We just got put down early.
That's Jeff Purvis. Even the veterans can have their struggling problems, as looks like Dick Trickle has been scraping it up there a little bit too, guys.
Yeah, once again, the car just took off to the right. I thought he cut a tire down, but I'm not sure he did. But he went high on the track and lost several positions. We'll look at it once again.
We see Trickle go down in the corner, and you're right. The car just all of a sudden goes dead left.
I believe you locked the front left front brakes on it when it went in there. Just simply wouldn't cut.
Brakes were smoking on the left front. Yep.
I guess that's what happened. He just got hit the brakes a little bit too hard and got the front tires sliding, and obviously the car is not going to turn while the front tires are sliding.
That can be a good lesson for people when they're driving on the highway. When you're driving and you see something in front of you, you know, you want to slow down, but locking the wheels, you have no control over an automobile with the wheels locked on it. Let's go down to pits and John.
Well, Ned, you're exactly right. I just talked to Doug Williams, and he said he locked up the wheels and he couldn't steer the car, but he should be okay, although he has dropped the position down to number 5.
Okay, so indeed, Dick Trickle goes back to 5th position now, and Alan Kulwicki is in 4th. The number 3 car there of Dale Earnhardt is not on the lead lap, but he is desperately trying to get back to a position where he can get it back, but that car is just not performing very well for him.
Hasn't handled as well as we've seen Earnhardt here before. He is running hard today. Moves around Brett Bodine on the outside. Here's Alan Kulwicki trying to move up on the outside of Brett Bodine as well. Bodine currently running in 11th position, 2 laps down.
And now Jeff Bodine has really closed in on Rusty Wallace and making it a battle for the lead.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look now at our Western Auto mid-race recap. Rusty Wallace led 146 to 270 laps at an average speed of 76.641 miles an hour. 5 leaders, 8 lead changes, 6 caution periods, total of 24 laps, and 5 cars currently on the lead lap. Those that have led include Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, the current leader, also Alan Kulwicki, and Darrell Waltrip. Those that are out of competition include Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Purvis, the most recent to drop out with the crash down in turn 3. Now, our Mechanic of the Year standings. Robin Pemberton from the Jack Roush Mark Martin crew leads with 173 points, followed by Gary Nelson on the 42 car, Tim Brewer on the 11 car of Jeff Bodine. Jeff Hammond is 4th. He, of course, works for Darrell Waltrip. And Donnie Wingo, the crew chief on the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd, is 5th in the Mechanic of the Year standings.
Jeff Bodine closed up to a couple of car lengths. Rusty Wallace not able to get up on the back bumper. Cars running very, very close. Jeff Bodine, evidently, the tires are working a little bit better than they did the last time. Bob, you can give us the 900 number again where the people can listen to.
It is 1-900-226-1000. Sports One system, $1.95 the first minute, $1 for each additional minute. What's your most memorable moment in auto racing? Answered by Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Junior Johnson, and Darrell Waltrip.
Here's a battle. These cars a lap down. Morgan Shepherd in car number 15 and Mark Martin in car number 6. They are battling for the 6th and 7th positions. Morgan Shepherd holds that 6th position right now, but Mark Martin trying to take it away. You can see Darrell Waltrip's car coming into the picture back there. Waltrip currently running in the 3rd position.
279 laps have been completed here at Martinsville in the Hanes Activewear 500. We'll take a break and be back with a special guest visiting our broadcast booth in just a moment.
1909, George Pepperdine founded Western Auto with a mail order flyer for Model T parts. Now, Western Auto has become the leader for auto parts and service in America. And today, Western Auto has joined Winston Cup Racing as the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR.
This week at Western Auto, get AC standard or resistor spark plugs for just 88 cents each. Remember, AC plugs don't just fit, they match.
Now it's official. Gentlemen and ladies, start your engines at Western Auto.
Ooh, yeah. You lift me up, you take me higher, you got me reaching for the top, you got the power, I know to
Get great financing on the all-new DR and Dual Sport models during the Suzuki Spring Break.
Don't stop short of the peak, 'cause second best won't do. There's a pride in peak performing.
Take more than 650 horsepower, wide open, for 500 miles. You need maximum protection to cool it.
I want the maximum going for me. That's why I've got peak on my cars and in my cars every time.
Don't stop short of the peak. No, don't stop short of the peak.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, give me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tongue and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
We're back at Martinsville in the Hanes Activewear 500, where the 27 car of Rusty Wallace leads the race, followed closely by the number 11 Budweiser Ford, driven by Jeff Bodine. Number 15 car of Morgan Shepherd is the next car on the racetrack. He, however, is a lap down, running in 7th spot, and he almost lost it in turn 2 just a lap ago. Then comes Darrell Waltrip in car number 17. He is in 3rd position in the race, and there are 5 cars on the lead lap besides those 3, Alan Kawicki and Dick Trickle. The Grand Marshal of this event here this afternoon, the Hanes Activewear 500, Steve Largent, former Seattle Seahawk, the all-time leading pass catcher in the NFL, and welcome to Martinsville, Steve.
Thanks, Bob. It still sounds a little funny to hear myself introduced as the former wide receiver.
Just a year ago that you retired.
Yeah, well, just 3 months ago. I'm still a little sore, as a matter of fact, Ned.
You know, a little small guy like you, how do you get out there and play with this big old, I mean, those guys are big.
I tell everybody I'm a lot bigger during the regular season, but I try to get out of bounds as often as I can, Benny. That's how you stay. It's like running into the pitch. You can't get in trouble there.
This is your first NASCAR race. Your impression so far?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, there's no way, as hard as you guys try to make the fans at home capture this on TV, being here in person, it's a different world. It's really exciting. It's a lot of fun.
You know, you're absolutely right about that. It is difficult to really bring home the impact that you have when you go to a Winston Cup race. Let's talk about what's going on here. The 26 and the 30 cars are on the same lap. That's Brett Bodine and Michael Waltrip. The 3 car of Dale Earnhardt is only down 1 lap. Bodine and Michael Waltrip down 2 laps.
The Brett Bodine car is running in 10th position. Michael Waltrip running 11th.
And the number 9 car of Bill Elliott, there he is. He's running in 11th spot.
Well, he's dropped back to 12th now. Michael Waltrip has moved around him, so they are 2 laps down.
Steve, you've been out in the infield, I'm sure, during the race, or at least out amongst the people. Is the noise here as bad as it is in the Kingdome?
No, it's a lot worse. I mean, as many times as the fans, the great Seahawk fans in Seattle have performed the wave, it does not compare to the noise and the impact here. I mean, you can feel it in your chest when these cars pass you. It's incredible.
Are you a race fan?
Oh, I enjoy it. I tell you what really hooks you is when you meet the drivers, like I did earlier in the day, and then you become personally involved. And to be honest with you, I was a little concerned as I got to meet some of these drivers, knowing that they were going to turn around and literally put their lives on the line in a race like this today.
Now, I think I know the answer to this question, being from Seattle, but do you have a favorite in this race today?
Well, you know, I'm sure I'm pulling for all the guys, really, just to have a safe race and a good race. But, you know, Derek Cope, being from Seattle, is kind of a hometown favorite, and you always pull for those kind of guys.
And there is Derek right there in the number 10 Purelator car.
Derek, Steve, Derek Cope in football language has dropped a few today.
Yeah, he's had a tough day. He's a good driver,
and
though.
somebody else has dropped one here. That's Ernie Irvin in car number 4, has spun down in turn 2.
Gets the car going, however, and will
Caution is out.
be able to get the car headed in the right direction. However, the caution is out once again on Martinsville Speedway. Ernie Irvin, the number 4 Kodak Oldsmobile, and we'll see now what kind of pit stop activity we have. The pace car is just about to pull out from its position on the backstretch and pick up the leader. The yellow comes out on lap 296. And here comes the pace car out, picking up the leader, Rusty Wallace, as he goes down the backstretch. There are the crews here on pit road in front of us, ready to go to work on the cars. You know, you talk about athletes in auto racing. A lot of people say that drivers and even crew chiefs aren't athletes, but I think you got to agree with me that they are. They go under a lot of physical exertion out there.
Well, so much of athletic competition doesn't have anything to do with how high you can jump or how fast you can run. It has to do with concentration and that competitive spirit and the pride in what you do. And, you know, these guys certainly exhibit all those characteristics.
Watching now the pit stops by Rusty Wallace on the bottom and Jeff Bodine on the top of your screen, as both crews now are on the left side of their cars, changing all 4 tires on these machines. We'll see who gets out first. Looks like it's going to be Bodine with a quicker stop. And now here comes Rusty Wallace out. Ahead of him, however, Morgan Shepherd.
Morgan made a very good pit stop. He has really been battling, trying to get back in the lead lap. Has been one of the faster cars, but just can't get back in the lead lap. So he beats one of the guys out, but not the other. Here's action on the back pits now. They come in a lap later. You can see Alan Kowicki in the middle of that pack. Alan running in the top 5.
That is Butch Miller's car, the IGA Planters car, getting work on it. Now here comes Alan Kowicki out of the pits. Bobby Dillon also rolls back into action. And the 75 car of Rick Wilson. Here comes Richard Petty in the 43 machine back out on the racetrack, and so does Butch Miller. So pit stops have been completed here as the track crew is still out there looking for debris and any oil that might have been put down on the racetrack. So it'll be a couple of more circuits before we go back to racing activity, and we'll take another break. Be back with more of the Hanes Activewear 500.
Take this test. Can you spot the economy car? Here's a hint. It's the red one. The 1991 Camaro RS. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat.
Being a tough motor oil takes more than tough talk. Sure, one brand says it's for smaller cars, while Quaker State has been tested tough enough to exceed the most demanding specs for every size car sold in the U.S. Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
I wish I had a buck for every place that tried to beat Midas at foreign car repair. Impossible. First of all, they'd have to have been in the muffler business for 34 years and have serviced more than 10 million foreign cars. They'd have to stock more foreign car muffler, brake, and suspension parts than anyone. Then they'd have to have trained experts, good enough to guarantee their work and still offer you a great price. A lot of them have tried, but nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Back at Martinsville, field is still under caution. We expect to go green here in just a moment. We'll remind you, however, that coming up next here on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern Time from West Palm Beach, Florida, the 1989 World Water Skiing Championships. That's at 4 o'clock, coming up right after the conclusion of our race here this afternoon. And then at 8 o'clock tonight, live, the Cubs versus the Dodgers, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. And we are going green here once again.
Boy, that front straightaway looks lonely at the moment, but won't be long.
Jeff Bodine is the leader of the race as he leads them off the fourth corner. Ken Schrader's car is to the inside. He is a lap car. Now it's Bodine leading and Rusty Wallace in second position as the field gets back up to speed once again. Steve, how is it that you have been selected as the Grand Marshal of this race? We're talking with Steve Larson of the NFL.
Well, last year, my son Kyle and I did a commercial with for Hanes Underwear. And, of course, Hanes is the sponsor of today's race, and so there was a natural tie in there.
Bodine and Wallace still running first and second. Now, compare these pit stops, a Big 8 pit stop performance from Jeff Bodine, 12.5 and 19.9 on the crew, total of 32.4. Now look at Wallace. It took the crew 23.2 seconds, and that is the difference between first and second position.
I'm amazed. These guys used to a 23, 24-second pit stop for 4 tires was a fantastic pit stop. Now, you got to have them in 20-second range to be competitive.
Gina, when I was driving a race car, a 20-second pit stop for a 2-tire change was good.
That's when they used lug wrenches, wasn't it, Ed?
Well, no, they had air wrenches.
Oh, we have a crash over and off the second corner down the backstretch. Rick Wilson has come in hard contact with the inside retaining wall on the backstretch, and the caution comes out once again.
So the Dinner Bell Oldsmobile of Rick Wilson having another tough day here.
Pretty heavy contact. You can see the damage now to the left front of that car. Field under caution once again.
We went for a long, we had 4 cautions very early, and then went a long span without a caution. And now here we have it again.
We'll see if we can determine what happened.
He had already spun coming off of turn 2, and you can see him back into the inside retaining wall, out of the way of the other traffic.
So Rick Wilson's car is still stalled over there off the corner. He's moving around inside, appears to be okay. The tow truck has arrived at the car. Well, Steve, we appreciate you joining us here in the broadcast booth, and hope you enjoy more Winston Cup racing.
Bob, I will. Thanks for having me.
All right, Steve Largent. Rick Wilson is out of the car and is walking away to the ambulance, so he appears to be in good shape. Just past the 300 lap mark here at Martinsville. A lot more racing to go here on a Sunday afternoon as we resume our coverage of the Hanes Activewear 500.
ESPN's Home Video and Coors, the Rocky Mountain legend, present Bill Elliott Racing into History, the only video that shows you why this man became a racer and how he became a champion. Hosted by ESPN's Benny Parsons, you'll feel the excitement of driving with Bill as he wins NASCAR's biggest prize, the Winston Million.
Bill Elliott gets the checker flag. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985.
Get an insider's look at the Dawsonville shops where Bill's cars are made. Ride with him at over 150 miles an hour and listen in as he and Ernie plan their race strategies.
I'll be about 2 rounds away to the left rear.
Order your copy for only $19.95. Call 1-800-533-1800. That's 1-800-533-1800. Bill Elliott is one of America's premier NASCAR drivers and most popular heroes, and Racing into History lets you enjoy the excitement of driving with Bill again and again. Call today, 1-800-533-1800.
Baseball Tonight has all the highlights, all the news, and all the views every night. If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on Baseball Tonight, only on ESPN. Baseball Tonight.
Welcome back to the final race of NASCAR's spring short track season, the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Stop number 8 on the Winston Cup Tour for 1990. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by today's Chevrolet, who invites you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. By Kawasaki Motors Corporation, USA. Kawasaki, let the good times roll. And by Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Rick Wilson.
Well, Rick is simmering down a little bit. Rick, what happened out there?
Well, Michael Waltrip and somebody else, I really couldn't see who it was racing side by side and got to banging a little bit, which is normal here for Martinsville. And Michael got pretty bad sideways, so everybody backed out to see what was going to happen. And Robin Rosa undoubtedly didn't decide to back out. He just run in there full wide open and hit me in the rear end, spun me into the fence, and put the Food Line Oldsmobile out for today.
You okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, but the car's tore pretty bad.
Rick Wilson out of it at Martinsville. Gentlemen?
Well, our congratulations to the entire Speed World crew and to our technical crew. Both have won Emmy Awards for our coverage of Winston Cup racing here on ESPN. Quite an honor to receive an Emmy, the highest honor given in broadcasting. We won 2 of them for production and for technical crew. So to all of the technical people, and I guess to all of us, congratulations.
Yeah, I'll slap you on the thing. Congratulations,
Same
Bob.
to you guys.
You know, I've told a lot of people, it's unbelievable just how much of teamwork it is to televise a race. You can look at a race car team and realize what goes on to make things work with all the pit crew and everything else, but you don't realize all the teamwork that's involved in televising the race. All the people back in the truck that you don't get to see on camera or hear on camera on the headsets do a fantastic job. Thank you, guys.
Behind the scenes
and
people
girls
are indeed very, very important to any telecast that we have Winston Cup racing. So we celebrate our Emmy Awards as we await the green flag and a resumption of this event here this afternoon. They are still cleaning up the Rick Wilson crash over off of corner number 2. Rick's okay. We'll be back after these messages.
In the world of sporty imports, there was Toyota, then Honda. But today, there's something new. Geostorm. It's going to hit with an aggressive stance, an eager multi-port fuel-injected engine, and 4-wheel independent suspension. Get to know the new Geostorm. It's rolling in now, and it's just around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Presenting a superbly engineered high-performance machine. One designed to outperform anything the competition has ever introduced, with exceptional starting power, smooth acceleration, and outstanding fuel efficiency. What do we call this masterpiece of engineering? Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug with the advantages of pure platinum. You've never driven anything like it.
To locate a Bosch retailer or service outlet, call 1-800-882-8101.
We are back at Martinsville. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan set to resume racing. The crowd rises to its feet as the field comes off the 4th corner and receives the green flag. Back to racing.
Well, did you see Morgan Shepherd come out of that pack and dip down to the inside trying to get by someone?
Oh, there goes
Trickle going very high into the turn once again.
I didn't think he was going to get the thing turned. You know, they took some bite out of the car on his last pit stop.
He told me last night, we were at dinner last night, he told me last night he was having a problem with.
Let's go to John Kernan with more on this Dick Trickle problem.
Well, Bob, Dick has still been complaining with each pit stop that the car feels really tight. So they took another half round to bite out of the car to loosen it up a little bit. Maybe they got it a little too loose right now as he got just a little bit too high in the turn and came around on him almost.
He locked that left front brake again going into that turn. They got too much brake on that wheel, and when the weight shifts a little bit going into the turn and he has the brakes on hard, it locks that wheel and it will not let it turn.
Meanwhile,
brake problem.
Alan Kowicki has went by Darrell Walker. Look at this, Rusty Wallace right on the back bumper of Jeff Bodine.
And he has already bumped in a time or two. Benny has used that bumper, and it moves in on him once again in turn 2.
Still 5 cars on the lead lap, led by Jeff Bodine, then Rusty Wallace. 3rd is Darrell Waltrip. 4th is Alan Kowicki, and 5th is Dick Trickle.
No, Alan Kowicki just passed Darrell Waltrip for that 3rd spot.
Okay.
Passed him on the outside. And Darrell Waltrip's car looks like it might have just a little bit of a problem right now. I'm not sure if that is the case, but Kowicki passed him and has put a few car lengths on him as we watch Jeff Bodine, the leader, and Rusty Wallace, the 2nd place car.
Well, we all talked about all race long how this is a contact track here at Martinsville. We asked Rusty Wallace, does that make brakes as important as fenders here?
It's a place where brakes are very important, and the driver has to be patient here. Now, we're in a volatile part of the year, you know, where all the accidents and things like that happen. So you really got to be patient, because if you get in a bumping incident and you go out after a guy, there's a good possibility you're going to burn the brakes off retaliating. So the best thing to do here is just forget what's going on and just race that racetrack and be cautious of your brakes the whole time, because if you lose the brakes, you're out of contention.
And we certainly have seen that evident with Dick Trickle. Now Rusty closing in once again on Jeff. Bodine, remember, eligible for $38,000 in Unocal bonus money if he can win this afternoon. He was our pole sitter.
As Ned and I talked about at the beginning of the show today, at the beginning of the telecast, Jeff Bodine, his car has run many, many times this year, as it is now, up front, but yet he still hasn't won.
Of course, Rusty Wallace hasn't won either, but we did also say that Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip would all be threats here in this race today.
Jeff Bodine comes into this race 5th in Winston Cup points, 169 behind the leader Dale Earnhardt. And Rusty Wallace is 11th in points, 219 behind Dale. There's the third place car of Alan Kulwicki, and he's moving in.
Yeah, he might be gaining on the front runners. After he got out of the pack, went around Darrell Waltrip and got by some of the lap cars, he just might be picking up on them a little bit.
One advantage that Alan Kulwicki has today, he is pitted on the back straightaway, but they ran a lot of green flag laps, got a lot of cars a lap down. Now he's able to move up on the outside of those cars, and he can restart these races in 5th spot, and that's a tremendous advantage as we watch Darrell Waltrip, Martin, Dale Earnhardt, and Morgan Shepherd.
Those 3 cars behind Darrell Waltrip are in the same lap, a lap down to the leaders. Mark Martin is 6th, a lap down. Then comes Dale Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd.
And Ken Schrader right behind Morgan Shepherd. He too is a lap down. He's running in the 9th position. So there are 4 cars that are 1 lap down. The 4 that we just mentioned, 2 laps down. In 10th place is Jimmy Spencer. 11th is Brett Bodine. 12th, Michael Waltrip. 13th, Bill Elliott. And 14th, Dave Mark is having a good run. And Richard Petty, 3 laps down in 15th position. And Alan Kulwicki slows down the front straightaway.
Oh, no.
Problem with Alan Kulwicki's car as we watch that battle for the lead. But Alan Kulwicki perhaps headed to the pits on the backstretch. There we see him come off at turn 2 and head into the pits. Tough break.
Just unbelievably bad luck for Alan Kulwicki all season. John Kernan is right there.
Bob, they're lifting the hood on Alan Kulwicki's Xerox Ford Thunderbird. It looks like his oil pressure has dropped, so they're going to work on that in that side of the car, and they're pulling out a fan belt. It looks like it might have stretched out a little bit. They'll be replacing that, so they'll be losing some valuable time here in the pits. Kulwicki just disgusted sitting in his car.
Only 1 top 10 finish this year. That was in Atlanta. He has had just problem after problem all year long in Winston Cup competition. And Alan Kulwicki just sits, as you indicated, very dejectedly in the car as the crew tries to figure out what's wrong with it. Here is the lead once again, being held by Jeff Bodine, but right on the back bumper is Rusty Wallace.
Rusty really hasn't made a real serious attempt to pass Jeff Bodine. A few laps ago, or maybe 10 laps ago, he ran up and bumped him a little bit, and then just backed off and seems to be content to run there and not use his brakes up there.
He just told us something a minute ago. You've got to be careful with these brakes. And look, we've solved lots of brake problems. We've seen lots of brake problems today. Ricky Rudd, Harry Gant, many cars. Dick Trickle has a brake problem.
And it's easier to use your brakes up running behind somebody than it is in running in front of them.
Of course it is, because he has to hit the brakes sometimes to keep from hitting the 11 car. Also, he's not able to get that clean air in the brake scoop to cool things off like he would if he was in front.
So still about 170 laps to go as we talk about brakes. We'll take a break here and resume our coverage in just a moment of the Hanes Activewear 500 from Martinsville.
The Kawasaki Jet Ski Tandem Sport Watercraft. You're only too old if you think you are.
You're never too old for the good times. We're looking
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
NASCAR Winston Cup racing from Martinsville, Virginia, the Hanes Activewear 500. Is that a German pointer, Benny?
It sure is. Is that a beautiful dog? Pointing a bird.
Wow. Spin on the backstretch is Brett Bodine.
Caution is out.
Last week's winner loses it coming off the second corner in just about the same spot that Rick Wilson lost it, but I don't think Brett hit the wall. If he did, he didn't hit it very hard. There may be some damage there in the back end of the car, but it's not very significant.
No, I don't think it did enough to keep him from continuing on.
When we talked about turn 2 at the beginning of the show, John Kernan was positioned out there and told us about the bump, and that combined with the radial tires giving some drivers problems, and Brett Bodine has fun over there in the second corner. We'll replay and see if we can determine what happened.
As we see him still working on Alan Kowicki's car, Brett comes off the corner, loses control. That might be the bump that John Kernan was talking about. Comes off the corner, the car just goes around.
He wasn't hit by anyone. He was running by himself and just spun around coming off the corner.
Isn't he one of the cars that did that in practice on Friday night?
Yes, he did.
I think Brett.
And then was hit by Dave Marcus.
They had to put a new front nose on the Quaker State Buick.
Here he comes in for a pit stop, and all the other leaders do also. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Jeff Bodine getting right side tires on the Budweiser Ford. It will take all 4 tires for most of the lead cars. 11 on top, Bodine on the top, Wallace on the bottom. He's getting left side tires rolling position now on the left side of that car. And also Wallace getting left side tires. This car's pulling out about the same time. It's a drag race, and Wallace will win it. Bodine is second. Here is Mark Martin, Earnhardt, Walter, everyone getting a 4-tire change down the road. Remember, they're allowed an extra man to get that rear tire. But if your right rear tire tends to get in someone's way, well, it may slow down a little bit, and that has happened a couple of times here in the pits.
Well, Jeff Bodine won the race out of the pits last time, and Rusty Wallace wins the race out of the pits this time. Let's check the Winston Cup point standings here as we enter the 8th race of the 1990 season. There you see the top 5 and 6 through 10 in the Winston Cup point standings.
Time to go, boys. You've been in there long enough.
Hey, we're not even tired. I feel good.
So I've checked the mileage, Andy.
Hey, we're the order line. We're guaranteed.
Guaranteed?
I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far we go.
But no spark plug guarantees that.
We do. Yeah, we're the auto line.
But
So go pull the plug on somebody else.
Wherever motorcycle riders get together to let the good times roll, it's easy to see who's having the most fun. The ones riding a Kawasaki.
Mostly cloudy skies over Martinsville Speedway as we are about to resume the action here in the Hanes Activewear 500. We had rain last night and earlier this morning, but everything is cool right now. The pace car is in, and we'll be back to racing here in just a moment. Now, the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd will lead him around, but he's not on the lead lap.
Well, he is now, because
Okay.
he's in front of Rusty Wallace. He beat them out of the pits, and so that has put him back. That allows him to move up on the outside, so he is in the lead lap. Boy, he's worked hard at it to get there, but he's the last car in the lead lap running fifth.
And he stands on the accelerator and pulls away from everybody as lap 340 sees the green flag wave. Now, boy, would he like to see a caution come out right now and be able to really make some headway.
Michael Waltrip now is trying to get one of his laps back. He is currently running 2 laps down in the car number 30.
Jimmy Spencer dove in, got in the back of the 11 car, just go down just a little bit.
Leader of the race is Rusty Wallace. We're riding with Mark Martin as he's behind Jeff Bodine, who's second. Mark Martin is not on the lead lap. He is currently 6th, a lap down.
Rusty now trying to make a move on the inside of Michael Waltrip, but couldn't get on the inside of him. Jeff Bodine running all over Wallace there, and there's Mark Martin watching that out of his windshield.
Now Rusty alongside of Michael Waltrip, and he will pass him going down the straightaway into turn 1. There's Darrell Waltrip, who is in 3rd position in the 17 car.
Mark Martin dives on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Now Darrell Waltrip can get by his little brother.
And Dick Trickle is in 4th position, and he took on 4 tires during that most recent caution period. The crew really likes the way that car is handling and progressing. Dick Trickle could be in for a win here this afternoon, moving to the inside of Michael Waltrip.
He's able to get by Michael.
By the way, the number 7 car of Alan Kowicki, there he is going into turn number 1, is back in the race, but he is, what, 11 laps down, I believe?
Yeah, I think that was right. Perhaps just gone another lap down, so he's just trying to get some Winston Cup points. He knows he has no chance for a high finish here this afternoon.
Again, a reminder, the 900 number that you can dial, 1-900-226-1000. Sports One system, $1.95 for the first minute, $1 each additional minute, and you can dial that number all week. Here, drivers respond to questions about their personal lives and what they're doing outside of racing. Dale Earnhardt is in 7th position, 1 lap down.
Kenny Schrader right behind him in 8th position, 1 lap down. Earnhardt trying to move on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Pulls out, drives right down on the inside, moves around him.
Michael Waltrip is 9th, 2 laps down the field. There's Morgan Shepherd, just ahead of Rusty Wallace. Morgan now is on the lead lap again in 5th position, and will hold our camera position here as the cars come down the straightaway. And again, watch for your favorite car and driver to see where he is running in relationship to the leader. We'll clock this lap by Rusty Wallace. They were about 21.6 and 21.9 when we clocked them earlier. Let's see how Rusty Wallace is doing now.
Should be a little bit faster unless Morgan Shepherd holds him up, which Morgan's not going to hold him up much, but with the newer tires, it might be a little faster. Let's see. Come down across the finish line.
Yep, it is. Almost a half second faster, as a matter of fact. And that's 89.320 miles an hour.
Boy, Rusty trying to hard to put Morgan Shepherd that lap down, as we see Waltrip, who is currently running in the 3rd position.
And John Kernan has a comment on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Bob, we saw earlier how Darrell was able to run more laps on a full tank of fuel. And Jeff Hammond just told me they will not need to pit if this thing goes green the rest of the way. Now, some of the other teams might have to pit with about 5 to 10 laps to go.
And it appears to me as if Darrell Waltrip is really closing in on the 2nd place car of Jeff Bodine.
Well, this is the point of the race when he normally starts running with about 150 laps to go. He says that's time to go, and he has stayed in the lead lap, has led part of the race. It's been just right up there all the time, and that's the way he likes it here at Martinsville. Rusty Wallace now really working on Morgan Shepherd. Jeff Bodine has caught Rusty. Rusty had moved away from Jeff, but once Rusty caught up to Morgan Shepherd, he has not been able to move around him, and Bodine has been able to close in.
Darrell Waltrip, who finished in 2nd position last week at North Wilkesboro, and had it not been for a late problem in the race, he could have won the race. We'll never know the answer to that question, but he is strong for the 2nd week in a row. And there is Dick Trickle right behind him. There is Mark Martin as he passes by, and Dale Earnhardt.
And Darrell Waltrip has won 3 races in a row here at Martinsville. Ned Jarrett mentioned that earlier in the race. It probably bears repeating. 3 in a row. 4 of the last 6 has been won by Darrell Waltrip at this speedway.
And he has a total of 11 victories at this facility. 2nd to Richard Petty, who has the most wins here, 15. Dale Earnhardt, by the way, is 3rd on the win list with 4. Then comes Harry Gant and Ricky Rudd with 2 each. There's the leader, Rusty Wallace, trailing Morgan Shepherd.
You know, I mentioned earlier that Harry Gant had won his first Winston Cup race here at Martinsville. So did Morgan Shepherd. He won his first ever Winston Cup race here. I believe
81. We televised that race here on ESPN in our very early days of televising Winston Cup races, and I'll never forget how happy Morgan Shepherd was in Victory Lane that day.
He's trying to hold Rusty Wallace off.
Now they
hoping for a caution.
Approach Jimmy Means in the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac and pass him easily down the backstretch.
Yeah, there's something on the grill of Jeff Bodine's car. Look, see there? See there? It's a piece of wax paper, it looks like.
Yes, picked up something, and that could affect the heating in the car, huh?
Well,
sure could.
Yeah, it could, because it's on the lower part of the grill there, where it gets a good bit of this air.
Rusty Wallace is telling Morgan Shepherd that he is back there, and would like very much if Morgan would allow him to pass.
Boy, Rusty is using up his car the most now that he has used it since the early part of the race, trying to put Morgan a lap down, at the same time trying to pull away from the second and third place cars.
Rusty tried one more time to get inside Morgan Shepherd. Can't make the pass.
Morgan's car is running good. The Motorcraft Ford has all afternoon.
All right, so it is Rusty Wallace in the lead. In the second place, there's Jeff Bodine, and third, Darrell Waltrip. A great record here on this racetrack, as we just mentioned, by Darrell Waltrip. Is that because of you or the cars that you've had?
A lot of it is psychological, and when you're up mentally and you go into an event mentally with the high hopes and high spirits, I think it reflects in the race car itself. You know, if you drive a good, smart race that day, you're going to win because it's a track you like and you've won at before. So I think it snowballs. You go in with a good attitude, and that flows over to the crew, and that flows over to the car, and ultimately you end up victory circle.
Dick Trickle has just spun in turn number 2. He was running by himself, just lost it coming out of the corner, as we saw Brett Bodine do a few laps ago. And so the caution is out on the speedway, and Morgan Shepherd, this is the break that he has been waiting for.
Yes, it is. He will stay in the lead lap. Dick Trickle lost a lap there as Rusty Wallace went by. Now Trickle is going to come on and pass the pace car, but I don't think that's right. I think that because the leader had already gotten the caution when he came by. Indeed, he did, and the black flag is being given to Dick Trickle, so he will be a lap down.
And here come the leaders. Jerry Punch reports on Rusty Wallace's stop.
Well, pit road will fill up in a hurry. Rusty Wallace, the first car to make an entry. They will change 4 tires here. Now, he is pitting directly in front of Jeff Bodine, the 2 cars that have been racing all afternoon. Bodine on the top of your screen, Wallace on the bottom. Now, Barry Dodson and the crew coming to the left side of the Pontiac of Rusty Wallace. Left side tires being rolled away. New ones being put into place. Mike Bodine is off the jack. He's down and away. Here's Wallace down and away. Bodine's crew getting him out before the Blue Maxi. Pit stop. Here's Darrell Waltrip down pit road. There's a lot of the lead cars now making those tire changes and getting back on the track.
Well, I'll tell you, that race in the pits has been almost as good as the race on the track. You know, they've beat each other a couple of different times.
And here's a replay of Dick Trickle's spin. See, he was just running by himself and may have encountered that bump that John Kernan talked about.
That's exactly what happened. And, you know, it's really sad because I think that Dick Trickle at that time was the fastest car on the racetrack. He was gaining on Darrell Waltrip.
And we'll look at it real time now from the in-car camera of Harry Gant, maybe?
Yeah, evidently Gant was pretty close behind him when this happened. He hit the curbing on the inside. The left rear wheel hit that curbing and it just spin him around. John Kernan talked about that in the open.
Trickle back out on the racetrack, but he is now a lap down. He did stop on the track and waited for the pace car, but it was black flag, and so he is a lap down to the field now. Let's go to Jerry Punch on pit road.
They are really racing here, even under caution for the pit stop. I personally clocked the Bodine's crew, the Budweiser crew, at 19.6 seconds for 4 tires. They didn't make any chassis adjustments, but what they did do is remove the hot dog wrapper from the grill. Hey, Bodine said, hey, anyone order a hot dog out here? I've got one on the grill. But a tough day here so far for some of the drivers. It's been all day long. It's been a battle for Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine. It'll continue when we come back to Martinsville.
And there's the checkered flag.
When the race is over, the scene begins. The Winston Cup scene. It's the largest and most informative NASCAR Winston Cup newspaper in the country. The pages of the Winston Cup scene are loaded with up-to-date information, insightful editorials and commentary, expanded coverage of each race, entertaining feature articles, the latest news, terrific photography, complete statistics, and even the gossip.
To order your Winston Cup scene, call 1-800-323-0200. 45 great issues for only $35 per year. Act now will send you free samples of our other publications.
Hey, Bill, checking out the scene? How'd I do?
Well, let's see. Petty. Richard Petty?
Why don't you take over? I'm into the scene. Why don't you get into the scene, too?
For the best in motorsports reading, be a part of the scene. Winston Cup scene. Call 1-800-323-0200 now.
Back of a back. Can't be beat with baseball. 4 nights a week. Under the lights. ESPN baseball tonight. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheader. Wednesday. It's nothing better. Catch it Sunday. Watch the fun. Sunday night. Our home run.
The Cubs take on the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Baseball tonight.
Back at Martinsville, Virginia Speedway in the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race. The leader is Jeff Bodine in number 11. The 27 car of Rusty Wallace is second, and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip. But ahead of Jeff Bodine, 2 cars are at the tail end of the lead lap. The 25 car of Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt. Also back on the lead lap, there are 6 cars in the lead lap.
Morgan Shepard now running in 4th place. Dale Earnhardt is 5th, and Ken Schrader running in 6th position.
7th a lap down is Mark Martin. Also a lap down in 8th position is Dick Trickle. Jeff Bodine thinking about the prize money that goes along with the purse, but also $38,000 in bonus money that will be awarded to him from Unocal should he win this race. He was our pole sitter.
Looks like Darrell Waltrip getting a little racy in that tied Chevrolet, man.
Yep, it's the time of the race for him to do it. Rusty Wallace running second, and Waltrip all over it.
And this last caution flag has ruined his chances of going all the way on gasoline, and maybe some of the other cars having to stop him being able to make it. Now I think they can all run to the end of the race.
You know, we got a note here that Darrell Waltrip just bought 4 sticker tires from Alan Kowicki, who had the problem and has been running slow and no chance to win. I wonder if they've gotten low in tires. They've used a lot of them today as a result of the cost of putting on a lot of tires.
There's probably a lot of used tires down there, but probably not too many sticker tires or brand new tires.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you want, is the brand new ones.
Boy, Rusty just closed up on the back of the 11 car. John Kerner, what about the tire situation?
Well, Benny Parsons, I see 2 new sets of sticker tires down here that have the number 17 written on it. The number 7 sticker tires have not arrived, so they're in pretty good shape, I think, as far as sticker tires go. And here comes the sticker tires from Alan Kowicki's pit, so that gives him 3 sets of sticker tires. Like I said, I do believe they'll be in pretty good shape with 125 laps left.
Yeah, he should be in good shape for the finish of this race. And there they are, the ones that have just arrived from the Alan Kowicki camp. Back out on the racetrack, it's still Rusty Wallace running second and Darrell Waltrip running third, behind the leader Jeff Bodine.
Now, they don't need those tires. They're about $800 a set, so I guess he just he has a set of tires he'd bring back to Martinsville in September.
And Kowicki certainly doesn't need them, so he was able to get rid of the $800 bill.
Jeff Bodine has come so close this year in reaching victory lane, but has not done so to this point. Morale seems to be high on your team. Why, Jeff?
we haven't won. And you say, well, how can you be happy if you don't win? Well, we know we're going to win, but we know, we understand, and, you know, we had this discussion before we even signed on a dotted line to run for junior. We discussed, hey, you're going to have some engine problems. Well, we already did that at Richmond. You're going to have some accidents. Yeah, we had Bristol, Darlington. So we understand those things are part of racing, and they're going to happen. So when they do happen, we don't get all depressed. You know, we don't mope around. We don't get mad at somebody. We just get out and say, hey, let's come back next week and try again. And that helps keep the team together, keeps the morale up, keeps everyone's spirits up, and lets us have a little more fun than worrying about everything.
Well, he has 5 top 10 finishes so far in 1990. His best was a second at Rockingham earlier this year. Jeff Bodine currently 5th in the Winston Cup points, 169 behind Dale Earnhardt.
Maybe just a lap ago, Darrell Waltrip was trying to get around Rusty Wallace. He ran into turn 1 just right on his bumper, and Wallace got a bite coming off of turn 2 and went down that straightaway and almost ran over Jeff Bodine going into the turn. How can he gain that much on one lap?
I was watching that, and unbelievable just how much that Rusty Wallace in one lap. We're going to have another field summary, another field snapshot. Watch as you're going to let the entire field go by, and you can see if your favorite driver's still on the racetrack. Barry Gant, Richard Petty, Jimmy Means. Here comes Dale Earnhardt, 25 car. Ken Schrader,
21.6. Just about where they've been running all afternoon long.
Yeah, well, Rusty ran 21.2 when he was leading the race the last time we did this. Dale Earnhardt pretty far out in front of the 3 leaders there. You see first, second, and third on the screen. And Earnhardt seems to be pulling away a little bit from Jeff Bodine. So Earnhardt now looking for a caution. So is Ken Schrader, who has gotten back to the lead lap.
Still about 112 laps to go in this race. There is Earnhardt. And there's the leader. So Earnhardt is on the lead lap, but at the tail end of the lead lap along with Ken Schrader. Bodine in the Budweiser Ford is in command here at the Hanes Activewear 500 at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We'll take a break and be back with more of our live coverage. Stay with us.
You haven't got half the parts I need.
How about a nice, peaceful wood ornament?
No, actually, I was looking for
something in an air freshener.
At Big A, we take our customers seriously. Our nationwide parts network helps make sure we have the parts you need when you need them.
If ground clearance is important in your next pickup, watch this visual test. 2 full-size half-ton 4x4s, Chevy and Ford, try to drive over this protected camera cage. First, the Chevy. Plenty of clearance. But the Ford. Cameras don't lie. When it comes to half-ton ground clearance, nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
The heartbeat of America. Today, truck Chevrolet.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
The standings remain the same up front. Still Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip first, second, and third in the 500-lap race here at Martinsville this afternoon.
Jeff Bodine going by the Jimmy Speeds Alka-Seltzer Pontiac. Left Rusty Wallace close up on the back bumper.
Darrell will have to pass him in this turn. That'll cost him about a car length or so. You can see Ricky Rudd there in the yellow car. He has been behind the wall quite a bit today. He has new brakes on that car, so he's running the strongest he has run all day long.
We will show you closer up the cars that remain on the racetrack. At this point, there's Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine, first and second position.
Bodine leading, Rusty Wallace running second. Darrell Waltrip right behind him in third place.
There is Jeff. Remember, he's the pole sitter this race, eligible for the Unical bonus money totaling $38,000. Second position belongs to Rusty Wallace.
The 17 car of Darrell Waltrip. There we see Rusty Wallace, a picture of him up in the corner. The 17 car of Darrell Waltrip, third place currently. Behind Darrell is the 6 car of Mark Martin, the Folgers Ford. There's a picture of Mark up in the corner.
He is a lap down in 7th spot.
We go back to Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford. Number 15. He is in 4th spot. Jimmy Means, the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac, following Morgan Shepherd. Dick Trickle, who just a couple laps ago, just a few laps ago, spun coming off the second corner, lost a lap, is now a lap down in 8th spot. Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Buick winner last week at North Wilkesboro, is in 13th spot, 3 laps down. Following him, Michael Waltrip, the Country Time Michael House Pontiac, in 9th spot, 2 laps down for Michael. Bill Elliott, the Coors Mellon Ford Thunderbird, 10th spot, 2 laps down for Bill today.
And right behind him is the car number 10 of Derek Cope. Derek has had some problems here this afternoon, running 6 laps down in 17th position. And then comes the car number 57 of Jimmy Spencer. Spencer running 2 laps down in 11th position at the moment as Dick Trickle comes into the pit. And Rob Moroso in the Crown Petroleum Oldsmobile car number 20, 4 laps down in 14th position.
The number 42 car will be next. That is Kyle Petty.
He's several laps down because he had a brake problem earlier on, had to spend several laps in the pits. Behind him, Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Film Oldsmobile. He's in 15th spot, 5 laps down. Ernie had a good qualifying run, qualified 3rd. Davey Allison, the Haviland Star Ford Thunderbird, brake problems on the 2nd or 3rd lap of the race, spent several laps in the pits.
Like 30-some laps in the pits. Dave Marcus with a good run here today in the Big Apple Market Chevrolet, car number 71, running in 12th place, 2 laps down. And then Harry Gant, who spent a lot of time behind pit wall in his Oldsmobile, the Skoll Oldsmobile, but still out there running, trying to get some Winston Cup points.
Dick Trickle has just gone back out onto the racetrack after an unscheduled pit stop. There he is. He had a tire go down, and so Dick Trickle falls even further behind. Here's the IGA Flanders Peanuts car driven by Butch Miller, car number 98, who is also several laps off the pace. And right behind him is the
car number 76 of Bill Sedgwick.
He's one of the Winston West competitors that has come to the East Coast and the Midwest to...
No, that's not Bill Sedgwick.
Well, Earnhardt just passed Bill. See, there's Sedgwick right behind Earnhardt. And there is Dale Earnhardt, who is in 5th position at the moment, pulling away from the leader, Jeff Bodine. I think we still got another one or two to go before we get back to Jeff Bodine.
Richard Petty is among those that we have missed. That is behind. There's the king behind Sedgwick.
The STP Pontiac, Ken Schrader, the Kodiak Chevrolet.
Richard Petty, 15 wins here at this racetrack.
And then Harry Gant goes into the pits on the backstretch. Then we get to Ken Schrader, who's the last car on the lead lap, and Jeff Bodine trying to put him a lap down. But Ken Schrader currently running in the 6th position in the Kodiak Chevrolet.
We missed Bobby Hillen, but he is still out there.
The Snickers Buick.
And we have 100 laps to go in this race.
You know something? Dick Trickle had a right front tire go flat a moment ago. And they've used their radials the last 2 races, North Wilkesboro and here at Martinsville. Ned, that's the first flat tire that I've seen or heard from. Normally, Jerry Punch, John Kernan will be all kind of reports from the pits. So-and-so had a flat tire. They'll be showing us with flats, tires with holes in them where they're leaking air. These radials evidently are tougher than iron because that's the first flat I've seen in the last 2 races.
Morgan Shepherd, a great season so far for Morgan. He has finished in the top 10 every race so far this year. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, the crews talk about how important it is to go to a racetrack and test. And Morgan Shepherd and the Budmore crew came here to Martinsville, tested with the car. They dialed in every day here. The car was running so well. They were so excited about coming here. Well, where is that test car? It's right here, still in the truck. Morgan wanted to run the car he ran so well with last week, so all that testing out the window for Morgan Shepherd, but it paid off. He's running in the top 5 right now.
Indeed he is, being shown in 4th position, as a matter of fact, at this time. Well, the leaders got into a little bit of traffic there while you were talking, Jerry, but none of the positions changed. Rusty still trailing Jeff Bodine, and Darrell Waltrip still behind Rusty. We'll show you the top 10 as we have them at the moment, as we take another break in our live coverage from Martinsville, Virginia Speedway at the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup Race.
One Tough Motor Oil announces one tough guarantee. The Quaker State 250,000-mile or 10-year guarantee. Register your new car at a participating service center. Then use only Quaker State. Have oil and filter changed as directed at a service center, and if any lubricated engine part suffers an oil-related breakdown within 250,000 miles or 10 years, you're covered. Quaker State guarantees it in writing. The big Q is One Tough Motor Oil.
We asked the International Motorsports Association to challenge the top 4 compact 4x4s in a test of climbing power in the Baja.
The Baja. Off-road racing doesn't get any tougher.
All 4 powered up the hill. But Chevy S10 left the others in the dust. The new 1991 Chevy S10, kicking dirt and taking names.
The heartbeat of America.
Today's truck is Chevrolet.
Top Rank Boxing every Thursday night, live on ESPN.
Back at Martinsville in the Hanes Activewear 500, Jeff Bodine leading Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip. The last driver to win from the pole position here at Martinsville was in September of 1981 when Darrell Waltrip won in a Junior Johnson Buick. There is Darrell Waltrip. Now the 66 car, remember we told you a few minutes ago that it went in for an unscheduled pit stop. What was the story on that, John?
Well, Bob, it was a flat tire, but it was no fault of the radial's construction. As you can see here, the rotor from the brake rubbing against the wheel. It finally built up enough heat where the cords just snapped, and that's what happened. The radial, he didn't cut it. It was just a problem from inside the brake which created it.
Well, he did drop another lap down. He's now 2 laps to the rear, shown in 11th position. Dick Trickle.
Meanwhile, back at the lead, the 11 car, the red 11, Jeff Bodine still leading. The 27, the black and white automobile, Rusty Wallace, running second.
There you see the last Ford win here was in 1986 with Ricky Rudd.
That was a Bud Moore car that Morgan Shepherd now drives for. Shepherd ran 4th.
Jeff Bodine's only win here at Martinsville came in 1984. Rusty Wallace's only win here at Martinsville was in 86. And there are 3rd and 4th positions, Waltrip and Shepherd.
Bodine and Rusty Wallace, it looks like they pulled away from Darrell Waltrip in the 17 just a little bit. A few laps ago, he was on their bumper. Now about 10 or 15 car lengths behind.
And Morgan Shepherd's pretty close to him. You know, we mentioned that Morgan Shepherd and Harry Gant had both gotten their first win, Winston Cup win here at Martinsville. So did Jeff Bodine. So this track has been good to a number of drivers as far as getting their first win. Sort of like Talladega, where we'll be next week.
We'll check the interval now between the 11 and 17 cars. Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip. 2.2 seconds between 1st and 3rd.
Well, in a couple of laps, we'll have to check that again and just see if Bodine is pulling away or if Darrell is gaining.
We'll do it this lap, as a matter of fact.
Well, okay, why don't you do that, Mr. Jenkins? You know, talking about Talladega next week, Ned, we're going to watch the interval one more time. The 11 car, the 17, 2.4. Bodine gained 0.2 of a second that lap. Ned mentioned Talladega. Folks, we're going to be in Talladega, Alabama next week for the Winston 500. They are going to be running 200 miles an hour in qualifying there.
That's what they say. They have been testing at that speed at least. It's live at 2 o'clock next Sunday afternoon.
You know, NASCAR has tried their best to slow the cars down, and the competitors keep finding more and more speed. They're going to be back up to 200 miles an hour. Unbelievable what these guys have been able to do with that small restricted place.
15, 16.
Can't wait for next week when we'll be there and see some speed on the world's fastest speedway, Talladega.
Well, Darrell Waltrip better pick up some speed because Morgan Shepherd is really working on his back bumper.
Yeah, he only needs 1 or 2 of those miles an hour now, but...
Yeah.
Check the interval again between first and third.
Pretty soon we're going to get a check and interval between first and second as Bodine pulls away from Rusty Wallace. 2.8, 4/10 of a second he's gained on Darrell in the last 2 laps.
And indeed he is putting some distance between himself, Jeff Bodine is, between himself and second place, Rusty Wallace. So Jeff Bodine has things in hand here, looking for his first win of 1990 and $38,000 in bonus money from Unical. Back after these messages to Martinsville.
When trouble with your car has you feeling a little wobbly, hurry into your neighborhood Parts Plus Auto Parts store, because you can count on the pros at Parts Plus for the right parts the first time.
And right now, you can enter to win the Parts Plus Repair America sweepstakes for one of 5 all-American family vacations to a great destination like Disneyland or Walt Disney World Resort.
Car owners of all ages count on the pros at Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts store. We're Parts Plus. It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clean for you.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and Beechwood aged for over 110 years.
This Bud's for you.
We hope you're enjoying today's live coverage of the Hanes Activewear 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. And by Purolator, the world's largest filter company. Here the top 10, it's Jeff Bodine leading Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Earnhardt with 75 laps to go. 6 through 10, Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, Dick Trickle, and Bill Elliott, and some very ominous-looking clouds are gathering overhead. There's the leader, Jeff Bodine, and our helicopter pilot that makes sure we get the pictures from the in-car camera says that showers are very close to Martinsville Speedway. And there is the helicopter hovering above, giving us the shots from our 3 cars.
And there's some spurts of wind here that might be blowing some clouds this way.
There's Bodine from the sky down to our leader, Jeff Bodine. Well, we want to wish happy birthday to Dale Earnhardt, who's celebrating his 38th birthday today. And we'd also like to say hello and get well soon to Bill France Jr., who was injured in a boating accident last week. Jerry Punch, Dr. Punch, bring us up to date medically on Bill France Jr.
Well, unfortunately, Bill was injured. He said last Wednesday he fractured and dislocated both ankles at the lower leg and underwent reconstructive surgery at Halifax Hospital Medical Center in Daytona Beach, where he is recuperating today. He's expected to be in the hospital between 7 to 10 days and require up to 3 months for total recovery. We are told by that the doctors there that he should recover completely. He is operating NASCAR as usual there from his hospital bed. And of course, his administrative staff have warned him to stay off the fishing boats and at the racetrack where it's much safer.
Of course, Mr. France, the president of NASCAR.
Dale Earnhardt, it is his birthday today. And you know, there's been a lot of people has written Earnhardt letters and sent him cakes and a lot of get well wishes. He wanted to say thank you so much to all the people who had sent cards and everything to him for his birthday, which is today, as Bob said, 38 years old today. I thought he quit having birthdays, but he had another one.
Time in the leader once again as you watch the rest of the field pass through the shot. Still lots of cars out there in competition. And it's a 21.9-second lap for Jeff Bodine.
Pretty good in traffic, Bob, and the fact that he's had those tires on for quite a while. So that Ford is the Budweiser Ford working well for him. He's about 20 car lengths ahead of Rusty Wallace at the moment.
Just passing the 20 car of Barbarossa, and he's catching up to Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Earnhardt had pulled out about a straightaway in front of Jeff Bodine, but once Bodine got by Kent Schrader, he has narrowed that distance between he and Earnhardt. Earnhardt, the last car on the lead lap, in 5th place.
And he has also spread out the interval between himself and Rusty Wallace, and there is Rusty in 2nd position, and Wallace just doesn't seem to be able to keep up at the moment.
Ned mentioned a moment ago when Rusty Wallace got a tremendous bite off the 2nd corner, which sent him down the back straightaway. Looked like he had a rocket ship for an engine. Right now, Jeff Bodine is the driver that's getting that grip off the corner. He comes off the corner, nails the throttle, and it really and truly looks like he has 50 more horsepower than anyone else. All it is because the chassis is working better than Rusty Wallace's chassis at this point of the race.
Bodine is the only driver who has won in modified competition, Busch Grand National, and Winston Cup on this racetrack.
Car out of shape coming out of the 4th turn was Jimmy Spencer. The rear end got around a little bit on him, but he saved it. Spencer in number 57. And there is Morgan Shepherd in number 15, who is in 4th position. Now, Morgan got bumped out of the Winston last week when Brett Bodine won the race. NASCAR invites the most recent 19 winners to compete in the Winston, and Brett Bodine bumped out Morgan Shepherd, and now the driver on the bubble, so to speak, the one that will go when we have a first-time winner, would be Bobby Killen, who won at Talladega several years ago.
There's the gap between our leader, Jeff Bodine, and the 3rd and 4th place car of Darrell Waltrip and Morgan Shepherd.
Or Earnhardt wants to caution because Jeff Bodine is really moving in. You can see there how close he is.
The 71 car of Dave Marcus is still out there in competition. He is 2 laps down in 12th position, but a good run by Dave Marcus. And let's go to Jerry Punch with more on this.
Bob, I've just been handed by the Western Auto people their selection of mechanic of the race, and that's why we're talking about Dave Marcus. His crew chief, Bart Priestman. Marcus only has a couple of full-time employees. They have worked day and night. Marcus crashed the car here Friday in the first practice session. Over in the turn, they've had to rebuild the whole front of this car. And I tell you, no more deserving crew and crew chief than Bart Priestman. They rebuilt this car. He is now running in the 12th spot, staying among the top 15 all day. A great effort and certainly a great award. Western Auto Mechanic of the Race, $1,000 to Bart Priestman here from the fine folks at Western Auto.
And our congratulations to Dave Marcus and Bart Priestman on that award.
And he had a good run at North Wilkesboro last week as well. I think he finished either 11th or 12th over there last week. So Dave Marcus running good. And here's Jeff Bodine putting that lap on Dale Earnhardt. So now there will just be 4 cars in the lead lap as Earnhardt, who was running 5th, goes a lap down.
The Winston Cup points leader now goes down to 1 lap down in 5th spot. Let's get out of John Kernan for a report.
Well, you mentioned earlier about how Jeff seemed to be driving a little bit harder, trying to chase down Dale Earnhardt. Well, the reason is Tim Brewer told him on the radio that rain might be on the way. Put that 3 car a lap down, so if rain does come out and force a yellow, then Earnhardt would have gotten to come back around and join the fray. But now Earnhardt is a lap down.
Okay, so they also are aware that there are showers in the area and may be preparing for an early end to this race.
Got about 56 laps to go when they come back.
Earnhardt battling alongside Bill Elliott at number 9, who is in 9th position, 2 laps down. We have the sun peeking through here on the straightaway, however, though, despite the fact that showers are reported in the area. Back with more after this from Martinsville, Virginia, and the Hanes Activewear 500.
Tim Conway's Comedy Review Skew Me. Non-stop laughs from Tim's comic bag of hysterical characters, including the infamous Daryl Dorff. Tim's special guest is the wacky Jonathan Winters.
Love you, man. You're welcome, I'll bust you.
30 minutes of unforgettable family entertainment for only $19.95. Don't wait. Order now. Call 1-800-444-4881. If you like to laugh, you'll love Tim Conway's Comedy Review Skew Me. Call 1-800-444-4881. For a good time, call 1-800-444-4881. It makes the perfect gift. Operators are standing by.
A lot of my income used to go to federal taxes.
Not anymore. I invested in First Investors Tax-Exempt Fund. First Investors Tax-Exempt Fund is insured and has delivered a dividend check month after month after month since 1979. And not 1 cent of the dividend goes to Uncle Sam.
For a free prospectus, call First Investors, the prudent mutual fund people. First Investors Tax-Exempt Fund.
Every month since 1979.
Back at Martinsville, where there are just a little bit more than 50 laps to go in this race, and Jeff Bodine continues to hold on to the lead, and it may appear as just if they're just cruising around out there, but expect the action to heat up here in the last few laps. Everybody just saving his car for the moment, ready for that final charge to the checkered flag.
And none of the cars in the top 4 positions who are in the lead lap are too close to each other, and that might be by design by some of them. They're saving those brakes for that last 20 or 30 laps. That's when they let her all hang out.
And this is a stock car race. Remember the Daytona 500 when Dale Earnhardt dominated the race, and on the white flag lap, the last lap of the race, had a flat tire? Anything can happen in a stock car race.
Isn't over till it's over.
Well, we mentioned there are 4 cars in the lead lap. Jeff Bodine leading. For second is Rusty Wallace. Third is Darrell Waltrip. And fourth is Morgan Shepherd. 1 lap down in 5th place is Dale Earnhardt. 6th is Kenny Schrader, 1 lap down. And Mark Martin, 1 lap down in 7th. And 8th place is Michael Waltrip, 2 laps down. And 9th place is the car number 66, about to go a lap down. He's 2 laps down. And Bill Elliott in 10th place, who was 2 laps down a little bit ago.
And Jerry Punch is down in the pits with Barry Dawson, crew chief on the Rusty Wallace 27 car.
Well, they have a couple of concerns. Obviously, Jeff Bodine, their primary concern, but also the weather. They have also heard that there are showers in the area. Let's find out if they have something left for Bodine. Gary, can you catch it? Do you have a little bit left? Can you catch Jeff?
I can't hear a word you're saying. We're trying to catch Jeff right now. He's pretty good. We're as good as we need to just get some traffic right, get a break here and there, and maybe have a shot at him.
Well, they would like to be able to get in and get some fresh tires, too, and possibly get a shot with fresh rubber on the car. Let's check into Darrell Walter pit with John Kent.
Thank you, Jerry. We're with Jeff Hammond. Jeff, how is Darrell saving the car for the last 30 laps, or is he having a problem?
Right now, we've used the brakes pretty hard here today. We don't have as much brakes as we like to have, and it's really giving us a hard time. So we're just trying to hold our own. We get a caution flag, get a chance to cool them back down, and maybe we can run hard right here at the end, but we just have to wait and see. We got too much ground road to make up, and we're just not quite as good a shape as we need to be.
Well, they also would like to see a caution here in the Darrell Waltrip pit to cool off his brakes.
Waltrip remains in 3rd position.
You know, Jeff Hammond said we don't have as much brake as we'd like to have here as we used to have. The problem is the radial tires. The cars are running so much faster than they did before. The brakes are not as good as they were before. Now they've got the cars running faster. They've got to go back home and figure out how they can get the brakes to work better.
Now, all the leaders, fellas, pitted on lap 363, so they have no problem going the rest of the way. Dale Earnhardt did not make a pit stop. That put him back up so he could stay in the lead lap, according to the report that we have here, that he pitted on lap 335. So it's going to be close as far as 165 laps is what he has to run, but that also has shown up in those tires. Jeff Bodine ran him down and passed him and put him that lap down.
We saw the interval there. You know, I think that Rusty Wallace is gaining on Jeff Bodine. Let's just see. It was 1.3 the last time. 1.1, 2/10 of a second.
Yeah, he is gaining, no question about it. Yeah, but could have been the traffic. Bodine was behind Dick Trickle. Dick just moved up and let both of them go this lap in turn 1. Let Jeff Bodine go, and in turn 3 he let Rusty Wallace go. Rusty got a little loose coming off at the turn that time. Lost a little ground too.
Lost some time with that little bit of bobble. You know, folks, that's just how much a little bit of a bobble can hurt you. 2/10 of a second. Doesn't sound like much, but in automobile racing, it's a great deal.
We'll do it one more time. Rusty's in a little bit clearer traffic now.
Yeah, but I think he lost some more ground this time, fellas. Let's see what the clock says.
Yep, you're right.
Yes.
It is.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tim Brewer.
They are clocking Jeff Bodine lap after lap. Timmy, Jeff is losing a little ground to Wallace. Are you concerned?
I can't hear you, Jerry.
He's losing some ground to Rusty Wallace. Are you a little bit concerned?
Well, you're always
concerned with Rusty sitting back here, but it's one of those situations. We were running behind traffic, so now that he's got an open racetrack, we feel like he'll be in pretty good shape.
Well, they're pretty confident here in the Budweiser pit that Jeff Bodine can hold him off.
Well, Jerry, he is, now that he is in clear traffic, has pulled away from Rusty Wallace, so Tim Brewer was right. He's in good shape right now.
Boy, those guys noticed everything, don't they, Ned?
Yes, sir.
I thought that Rusty was gaining on Jeff, but it was just a traffic situation.
461 laps are completed here at Martinsville. So we are closing in on the final stages of this event. And can Jeff Bodine hold on to the lead and walk off with his first Winston Cup race of 1990? Last week, brother Brett Bodine was in victory lane. Today, it could be Jeff. We'll be back right after this with more.
Benjamin Moore paint is sold on playgrounds.
If you want my advice, use Benjamin Moore.
And just about everywhere else.
But any color, they've got it.
Because our best salesmen...
It's the only paint I use.
...are the people who use us. See your Benjamin Moore dealer.
Lately, Showtime's made some overinflated claims. They say they have big movies, but it's HBO that has 7 out of 10 of the year's top films. Hits like Twins, Ghostbusters 2, and HBO exclusives like Rain Man and The Naked Gun. Movies you just won't see on Showtime. And HBO has the fights that make boxing history, along with nearly twice as many original programs. So considering all the facts, HBO is simply the best.
Live, high-speed excitement that drives fans wild. The Indy 500 time trial. 97 entries, battling for 33 starting positions. And only speed will set them apart.
And it's a new track record.
The thrills of Indy, Sunday, May 13th, live on ESPN.
We are back at Martinsville, where the Hanes Activewear 500 is nearing the closing laps. Jeff Bodine at number 11 remains in the lead over Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Earnhardt. Now, yesterday here at Martinsville, we had a modified race won by Jeff Fuller, and he is with Jerry Punch. And Jerry, asked him how he pronounces the word C-A-R and T-I-R-E.
Well, we asked him that yesterday. In fact, Benny Parsons asked him. I think he stunned Benny. For the first time, we may have seen Benny Parsons speechless. Jeff, I tell you, yesterday you sat over pole and dominated all afternoon. A great run for you and a great win in the Raven Boats 150. But the best performance today came in victory lane. What do you call those little round rubber things you put on the car?
Jerry, I asked Benny Parsons the same question. We got down here. I went to the Goodyear truck and I said, I need 8 of those things. Goodyear guy says, you mean 8 TARs? And I says, no, tires. And I asked Benny, I mean, he comes from down here, and they were really confused about that, but that's how they say that. They say the TARs.
The TARs and the cars, but this man can certainly wheel an open wheel modified. He won yesterday at the Raven Boats 150. Gentlemen.
Well, he beat Mike Stefanik, George Kent, Reggie Ruggiero, and Jamie Tomato. A nice run in that car by Jeff Fuller.
It was, I tell you what, that victory lane was unbelievable. He was so excited, and we got going on cars and cars.
Let's also say congratulations, fellas, to Chuck Bowen, who won the Busch Grand National race. You can rent Grand 200 lapper in Gainesville, Georgia last night. Kenny Wallace came home second. Tommy Ellis was third. Bobby Hamilton fourth. And Steve Grissom coming home in the 5th position. So Chuck Bowen in the Texas Pete. No, I beg your pardon, the Nescafe coffee car.
Well, Rusty Wallace is losing ground to the leader, Jeff Bodine. Jeff just continues to stretch it out and has almost well over a half a straightaway advantage now on Rusty.
Yeah, we've been checking intervals the last few laps. Let's check an interval now and just see how much that Jeff Bodine has pulled out in front. The last time we saw it, it was about 1.6. Here comes Bodine. The clock starts. Here comes Rusty off the 4th corner. 3.7. Wow. So he's gained over 2 seconds in the last, what, 10 laps has it been?
Yeah, and I don't think that it's the fact that Jeff has picked up that much. I think Rusty Wallace has slowed down. because Earnhardt, you know, Jeff put a lap on him not too long ago, and he's staying in reasonable distance off Jeff Bodine, but Rusty is losing ground to both of them. In fact, I got a stopwatch on Rusty, and he just ran 21.84, which is really not a bad lap. We clocked Jeff Bodine a little bit earlier at 21.9, but I think he was in traffic.
Still several cars on the racetrack. Attrition hasn't been that high here this afternoon. We'll show you who is still out there as we lock down the camera and time our lead car.
Now, he is in traffic. That might have a little bit of an effect on his lap speed this time.
21.6 was the last lap that we timed on Jeff Bodine, and 21.2 was the best that we clocked of a leader. That was Rusty Wallace when he was up front a few minutes ago.
I think this will be, well, 21.7, which is faster than I had Rusty Wallace, and he was running behind Michael Waltrip there, which might have taken away a little bit of speed.
24 laps to go. The 17 of Waltrip and the 15 of Morgan Shepherd continue to do battle out there for position for third, as a matter of fact.
Now, for a while, Waltrip had pulled away from Morgan Shepherd, but now Shepherd up there working on it.
And Morgan goes to the inside and tries to pass Darrell Waltrip in the third corner. Here they come off the corner, and Morgan Shepherd is going to pull ahead of Darrell. So Morgan Shepherd goes to third position.
And for about 2/3 of this race, he ran a lap down, but he finally got it back. And how he got a lap down, for the fans that might have just joined us, on the first green flag pit stop, many of the drivers just took on two out the right side tires. Morgan Shepherd's crew changed 4 tires. He got a lap down. It took a long, long time for him to get it back.
What a great year that Morgan Shepherd is having in the Motorcraft Ford. He is second in the Winston Cup point standings, and if this thing could go on and finish this way, he would gain considerable ground on Dale Earnhardt today. Earnhardt not having a particularly good day. Morgan Shepherd, a great day, finishing third.
The leader moves into some traffic. There's Jeff passing brother Brett, and now he approaches the 57 of Jimmy Spencer and the 30 of Michael Waltrip, not too far ahead.
Michael Waltrip gets the car out of shape right in front of the leader, Jeff Bodine. Now, Jeff don't want to see that. I know. He says, Michael, please control that car.
Michael running in 8th place. He's 2 laps down at the moment. The only car that is 2 laps down, but he's about to go 3 laps down, and boy, did he get loose again.
Less than 20 laps to go in this one.
I tell you, 38,000 added on to about 50,000 or so that Clay Earls normally pays for the winner here at the Martinsville Speedway. Going to be a good payday for a short track.
Yeah, this is going to, whoa, look at Michael coming off the corner, got a little sideways. I think this is going to be the richest short track race in history, if I'm not mistaken, because of the Unocal bonus money.
You're right. Jeff Bodine can hang on.
Harold Kinder giving Michael Waltrip move-over flag, telling him that there's a faster car behind you.
But because of this, Rusty Wallace does not seem to be gaining. You would think that with the trouble that Jeff is having in the traffic, that Rusty would be closing in, but that just doesn't seem to be the case.
No, I don't think he's gaining on now.
A lot of cars between first and second now.
And the laps are wearing down. I tell you what, Jeff Bodine might back off and let Michael Waltrip go. He might not pressure him too much, because I think they're running fast enough now that Rusty Wallace is not going to be able to catch Jeff Bodine.
6 years ago in this race, Jeff Bodine won his very first Winston Cup event. He has won 6 times since then, so if he should win here today, it would be Winston Cup win number 8.
Now, fellas, here's a good battle. Mark Martin running in 6th place in car number 6, and Kenny Schrader in car number 25 running 7th. Now Jeff Bodine gets around to Michael Waltrip, but he has those 2 battling for position in front of him.
15 laps to go.
There are 3 cars that are 1 lap down. Dale Earnhardt running in 5th place, Mark Martin running 6th, and Kenny Schrader running 7th. Of course, the 4 on the lead lap are Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, and Darrell Waltrip.
Schrader moves over, lets Jeff Bodine go by on the outside. Whoops, wait a minute. I said he was going to let him go by. He passes Mark Martin instead for the spot.
So Schrader moves to 6th now. And Mark Martin back to 7th.
Now Schrader's going to move to the inside.
Ooh, Waltrip was real loose coming off the corner. And there goes Dale Earnhardt to the inside.
A lot of good race cars running close together there.
All this happening just behind the leader, Jeff Bodine. Here's a replay of watch Michael Waltrip.
The second corner. Ooh.
Yeah. Earnhardt got loose too.
Earnhardt trying to get underneath the 30 car. Got his car a little bit out of shape coming off that second corner.
Coming down will complete lap 489. We'll have 11 more laps to go. Watching from Mark Martin's Folgers Ford. Oh, Earnhardt and Ken Schrader are running close together. Don't forget the water skiing championships, women's water skiing coming up right after our telecast here this afternoon, and we only have 10 more laps to go.
Mark Martin trying to pass Ken Schrader back on the outside. They still are battling for that 6th and 7th position. Now, they have gone 2 laps down, so Earnhardt is only 1 lap down now, so he's in the lap by himself.
That's the problem. Earnhardt doesn't have anybody to race with, but Ken Schrader and Mark Martin have each other to race with. They need for Earnhardt to go on, get out of their way so they can see certainly on the racetrack who's going to be in this spot. The spot we're talking about is 6th.
And every spot means dollars and points. We're looking at the windshield of Mark Martin as he chases Ken Schrader.
So we watch Earnhardt, the black 3, white 25, the brown 6 or maroon 6 is Mark Martin. Ooh, gets the car a little bit out of shape. You saw his hands go back and forth to control the rear end of the car coming off turn 2. Mark comes by and completes another lap.
6 more to go. There's the leader, Jeff Bodine. The last time Junior Johnson won a race here at Martinsville was in September of '84 with Darrell Waltrip. His car, driven by Jeff Bodine, is out front here. And there are now 5 more laps to go. 495 in the books. Jeff was the 1982 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year and was the 1987 IROC champion. IROC, of course, getting going for the 1990 season next weekend at Talladega.
You know, you folks have been watching these short track races on NASCAR Winston Cup racing. You're accustomed to seeing a tire go across the start-finish line first. Maybe this is going to be not as exciting as you would like for it to be, but it's going to be very, very exciting for Jeff Bodine. Because this 11 car is Jeff Bodine. He was very, very good at Talladega last year. I think, didn't this car finish second both races? Or
Terry Labonte won the second race down there at Talladega last year.
In this car. So.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jerry Punch. He has a comment.
Well, Junior is here.
A lot of concern in the Earnhardt pit that he may not have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way. The gas man, Danny Tuckler-Meyer, sitting on the pit wall with that big gas can in his lap, waiting and watching as Earnhardt is not coming in, and they're hoping they can make it the last couple laps.
Well, there's a development we had not expected. There are less than 2 laps to go, but Earnhardt may be having a fuel problem. Now here comes the white flag for Jeff Bodine as he comes off the 4th corner. And Harold Kinder has it in hand. Here it is. 1 more lap to go for Jeff Bodine, and he'll win the Hanes Activewear 500. Bodine looking for Winston Cup win number 8 and his first victory since October of last year when he won on the short track at North Wilkesboro. He's got his hand in the air waving to people even though he's not finished the race yet. Here he is off the 4th corner, and Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York wins the Hanes Activewear 500 at Martinsville. Junior Johnson's car brings home a victory here this afternoon.
Yeah, that's about as excited as Junior ever gets there.
Second place goes to Rusty Wallace, and 3rd to Morgan Shepherd. 4th, Darrell Waltrip. And let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tim Brewer.
Tim, congratulations on a great effort today.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, it's kind of a bittersweet deal. We won the race. We done everything we could at the track, but kind of had to give one of the guys up to do it. We hated to do that. So I guess this year is for Brent.
He's referring to a young man who was so close to Junior Johnson and the entire Budweiser crew that was killed in an auto accident a couple of nights ago. It was a tough day for the crew. They really didn't even want to be here and race today, but they were here and they came out victorious. A great win for Jeff Bodine. The Hanes Activewear 500 is history, and Jeff Bodine rolls to victory lane. Career win number 8. We'll be back in just a moment.
After the scraping, after soothes, after the burning, after soothes, after aftershave skin conditioner. Nothing's more soothing after.
This Yardman mower has all the quality features of this high-price mower, except one. The high price. Yardman. Everything the high-price mowers have, except the high price.
This part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Book says it fits.
At Big A, we supply the pros, so we have to know what we're talking about, and our parts have to be pro quality. It's one more way we earn the A every day.
Your attention, please. This area is for the loading and unloading of passengers only. Please stay in line. Keep left. Merge right. No shirt, no shoes, no service, no pets, no parking, no standing, no camping, no excuses.
If the trials and tribulations of everyday life are getting you down, Kawasaki is happy to offer some fast relief.
Have fun.
When we set out to engineer the ultimate spark plug, we put in a lot of long hours. We utilized a lot of revolutionary thinking. And all the while, our competition thought we were just shooting for the moon. Unfortunately for them, we shot a bit higher than that. Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. To locate a Bosch retailer or service outlet, call 1-800-882-8101.
The same battery that has started 9 out of 10 NASCAR winners since 1977 also starts millions of cars all over America every day. Die hard. More power when you need it most.
Let's go down to victory lane, our Sears Road Handler Winner Circle interview, and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Has to be the classic line. Bodine gets out of the car, and Bruce says, if you kiss me, I'll kill you. Tim Brewer here celebrating Jeff Bodine. Jeff, congratulations on a great win. And his car owner, the legendary Junior Johnson, comes in, and they get a big hug here. Win number 1 for the Budweiser team this year.
Well, it's been a while coming, but we knew it was going to come. But, you know, we're kind of winning this thing on a good note. Brent won last week. Barry won last night in his go-kart. But we lost a friend this weekend, Brett Coughlin, and we're pretty sad about that. We're going to dedicate this race to him. We wish he could have been here to see it because he was a racer, and we're going to miss him.
You put on a fine display today. It looked like you were patient all afternoon. You kept in charge of the brakes and took it easy on the car.
Well, can you believe this pit crew? I've been telling you guys they're tough. They got me out ahead of Rusty on the last stop, and the car was hooked up. A great set of tires, made the right moves, and we just pulled away, and it was really pretty easy, but I'm not going to tell anybody that.
$38,000 from Unical on top of the big person, Clay Earl.
Well, that's great, you know, but winning's all is what it's about. I don't care how much money it pays, whatever. We got Ford, we got Budweiser, Junior Johnson, Tim Brewer. We're all here in victory lane. I got a little hoarseness from this weekend, but that's what it's about, not the money.
Legends and winners in victory lane. Junior Johnson, Jeff Bodine, and Tim Brewer. They certainly have dominated today.
Congratulations to Jeff here. The top 20 finishers, Rusty Wallace second, then Morgan Shepherd, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Earnhardt. We'll let you see the remaining drivers who finished in the top 20. And as far as the Winston Cup points are concerned, well, it remains pretty much Dale Earnhardt in the lead, but closing in second position is Morgan Shepherd, and you can see now that Morgan Shepherd is only 52 points behind Dale Earnhardt in the lead, and then comes Bodine, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. Water skiing is coming up next here on ESPN. Don't forget Sunday night baseball at 8 o'clock tonight, the Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we'll be in Talladega next weekend, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon for the Winston 500. Speeds near, if not over, 200 miles per hour. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Curtin, this is Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us for now. So long, everyone.